going on, everybody? I go by the name of Ismari Marv, and you are now tuned in to another episode of Gem Talk and Barbers. It's been a little minute since we had one of these, and what a better way to bring it back than bringing on the man himself, Mr. Cowboy Casanova 93 is what he goes by on social media. What's going on, dog?
What's up, guys? What's up? How you guys doing today?
I know for me, I can speak for myself. I'm feeling good. Guys, if you're tuning in live, let us know in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know where you're tapping in from. We're excited, man, to have this conversation. At least I know I am. I can speak for me because this is something we talked about a while ago, right? Doing this?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember when we first talked, it was super organic. You know, I feel like I hit the industry by storm. You know what I mean? I said some triggering crap, and that was that one video you posted, the 30-minute haircuts or less. And I kind of figured out, you know, a lot of people don't know this, right? I want to start about shouting you out, Marv. Like I joined, I don't know if you remember, you had a marketing program or course that you sold.
Yep, the social media course.
Yep, I joined it, and I actually worked hands-on with someone that was super good at marketing locally here where I live, and he was helping me build my page. And then I went solo. I learned a lot from him, but I went solo, and then I joined your program, and it helped fill in a lot of those little gaps, you know, those holes in my game with social media. And I realized, you know, that that hook matters. That first hook, you know, getting that attention, you know, from people. And I think a lot of people miss out on that. Like, obviously, like I can be a jerk, you know what I mean? I know I can in real life, and I don't mean like a real jerk, but just the way I speak, I know it can trigger people. But I'm like, let me bring my authentic self to social media and, like, you know, do what we're doing. So I want to give you a shout out, man. Like, that's something that a lot of people don't know. Like, it started there, and then, you know, we went from, you know, messaging each other, and before you know it, just the chemistry was there, bro. So
yeah,
you know,
I appreciate it, bro, because to be honest, for the longest, I didn't even know you had went and did my course. You know, I think even once I seen you popping up, I had no clue that you had done it. So,
hey, dude, you know what you're talking about. I did my research before hopping on today, and like I looked at your Instagram. I went back. I was like, I want to know as much about Marv before we jump on this. And it says you joined in 2015. Yeah. You got a picture of Rob the Original. Your designs were crazy back then. You've been on
went that far back, bro.
Bro, hey, I did my research. I don't think that people should jump into situations like this without getting to know a person, you know. And like, I will tell you, man, like you've been on it for 10 years, you know, and I think that speaks volumes, you know, in the industry that we're in. People sit here and they get into a position where they want to like get successful overnight, whether it be in business or social media or barbering. And it's like, nah, man, like it takes time. Like you got 10 years, you got a decade, bro. By the way, happy 10-year anniversary on social media, big dog.
Appreciate it, bro. That's funny. It probably took you like a good 10 minutes to scroll.
Bro, I had my buddy driving, and I was just like this for like a minute. Yeah. And it finally, because you post a lot, so I was like, hot damn. So it's cool, man. It was cool. It's cool to see your growth and like how long you've been doing it for, man. It speaks volumes.
It's crazy too, because I've probably deleted half of my posts too, because I've for a while, and even to this day, there are times where I'll just post and delete. So there's just been different strategies I've done over the years where that was part of it, just posting multiple times and then deleting.
Well, why do you do that? Why do you post and delete? Like, that's something I never understood. So I thought some people did it for aesthetic reasons.
Yeah.
You're saying it's a strategy for marketing. Like, why do you do that?
I mean, because what I was doing was using my page the same way stories work, right? Like you post to a story, it's up for 24 hours, you know, it's gone, right? So it's
limited content.
Yeah, it's no different really than a story post. You're just using the feed to do some of the stuff that you would do on the story. But a lot of it would be from me posting to promote a gem talk. You know, I might post 10 times for the day promoting it, but then I delete them all once the gem talk happens or is done. Or if I was doing a special for something that, you know, my social media course, or just even just, you know, that type of stuff, or just even posting stuff that I thought would perform better, but it just didn't. So I deleted it, started tweaking it and things like that. So I've probably deleted thousands of posts too. So when you're scrolling and you're seeing all of that, just know.
You saved me like 5 more minutes.
Yeah, I saved you some time. It's cool you did that though, bro, because you got to see, like, so many people think what I've been able to build and do just like happened overnight type of thing. It's like, when did you catch your big break? When did you really start blowing up? And it's like, bro, Not only have I been on Instagram since 2015, like you just seen, but prior to that, I did music, right? So even then, I was honing some of these skills that I use now, being on the microphone, being on the camera, writing stuff, just creating content in a different type of way. But I did that for a long time prior to even hopping on Instagram. I was on MySpace promoting my music. You know what I mean?
Choosing your top 5 and everything. Yeah, that was crazy.
Arguing with my friends, they get mad when why am I number 2 or why am I number 3?
Like, why do you pick up number 1? That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's been a long time, and that's what I always try to tell people. Like, if you're fortunate for it to just be able to happen like that for you, that's winning on a lottery ticket, right? But aside from that, you got to be prepared to play this for a little while.
I was gonna say, man, talking about that, I also think there's a huge drawback to that. There's a lot of people that you see that blow up immediately, and they don't understand marketing. They don't actually know how to have consistency or why they blew up. It's almost like the analogy I like to give is like throwing a dart in the middle of the dark, and you're trying to hit a bullseye and you miss it every time. And so you finally hit it once, and then you're like, you don't know why you did. You didn't do your market research. You don't know who your fan base is or why people follow you. You don't understand what you're actually marketing. And I think that's the drawback. Like for me, I think I've been doing social media pretty hard, for 2 years now almost.
Yeah.
I'm doing 2.5. And I'm thinking about to hit 20K followers, right? I've hit a couple of videos that hit 1 million views, couple that more than a couple that hit a couple 100,000. And then, my minimums are 10 and 20K. Yeah. On the very low end, every now and then it's 5K. And those are the ones that they're throwaways. I throw them out there to maybe cross promote for YouTube or, a course that I'm doing. But realistically, I think that it's more of a negative thing when you blow up and you get super famous out of nowhere.
Agreed.
Yeah, because you don't know how to keep it. It's better to spend a whole decade really even shout out to Vic Blends. He's been low key shading me lately in some posts, but that's another conversation.
Is he shading you, or is it you taking it like it's directed towards you?
No. So check this out. It's real.
And the reason I asked before I say that is because for the longest time on my page, and I'm sure even today, but when I first started building, I was doing rants in the car where I would tap on different things, in a way you're doing now, where I'm calling out different things in the same way I do now. But it was even a different way, more so back then. But I had so many times where people more locally thought I was taking jabs at them, and it wasn't. It was just me speaking to the general idea of it, and they just thought I was coming at them. So that's why I asked you, are you sure it's at you?
No, I mean? I'll talk about it, bro. This is part of it, So the thing happened, right? Whereas there was a video I posted about being looking lazy, and anybody knows this in business, you look at Big Blends, for example, right? He's been grinding for a long time. People don't know this. I think he was on Vine doing skateboard stuff, and he didn't just hop into doing free haircuts, right? It's all staged. I'm not trying to knock on the guy, but it's good. It's good marketing. You're still giving a free haircut. You got to ask for permission. You can't put people's faces on camera. I learned that the hard way. You know what I mean? Trying to create content. And I shout out to him. You know what I mean? I respect his hustle. He's been grinding for a minute. But the thing is, I made a video where he was when I was talking about looking lazy, right? Obviously I said it in a triggering way just to catch attention. But
social media.
But yeah. So I was he's it's crazy. I got famous from wearing slides, and that's all I've been doing. And a lot of people are yeah, Big Blends, oh my gosh. And I'm all right, bro, oh my gosh, hop off of it, cool.
Yeah.
But here's what happened, man. I have a video on TikTok where some dude, shout out to Fetty, we ended up chopping it up. We follow each other now. But some guy Fetty on TikTok, he's a smaller influencer, and he made a video where he was flipping me off. It was the haircut's a 30-minute haircut video, and he made a video on that flipping me off, just being a little bit rude. But I took it to the chin, and I just commented on there, and I was LOL, whatever. And then Big Blends commented on that, and I was that's crazy, and he put a laughing emoji, and I'm dog, you don't laugh at someone getting flipped off, it was a funny video, but when you have that big of a page, I do think there's a responsibility to carry yourself with certain etiquette. Yeah, you could be petty, you can laugh at certain things, but I kind of, it was one thing after another where I was he sees my videos, he's commented on my videos, he knows who I am, but whatever. And then the Pissed Off Barber made a video of, making fun of Big Blends. And I don't really agree with how he talks about people, but I was like, you know what? He laughed on one of my videos. I'm gonna laugh on this. And he's like, yeah. I was
you
like,
got a comment beef
hey,
going,
bro. Hey, I am petty, bro. I'm not petty. I'm competitive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I commented on that, and I was like, yeah, I guess giving out free haircuts and recording yourself giving back is cool nowadays. You know?
Yeah.
I left that up.
Just some internet trolling each other.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I love it. It's friendly. You know what I mean? It's friendly competition, and I think it should be that way.
Yeah, so. and I love like, you know, the one perspective Pissed Off Barber gave me back in the day. It was insight that he shared that I'm like, yeah, exactly, that's right. Was when he was just talking about like, bro, barbering was kind of built on roasting culture. Right, like we roast and troll each other. In my shop, the stuff we say to each other, bro, like it's we crazy. Just troll and have fun, right? Yeah. The customers love it. Everybody loves it. It's like it's how we show love. Like if we're not trolling you, it's like we don't, you know. So
that's how it is. Yeah, and I was gonna tell you that too. Like it took me a while, like to accept that. Like, how long did it take you, Marv? Like you've been on here for 10 years, and you know you do give your opinion. So you have people that comment and obviously argue with you about stuff, right? Like, how long did it take you for you to realize like it ain't personal? Because it took me a bit, and I finally accepted it, you know, like not too long ago.
I mean, I can't put a specific time on it, right? But it obviously takes you a little while, right? It takes you a little while to just like not get really triggered from the stuff because people just say the wildest stuff. I can't pinpoint it to a specific time, but it was just more so belief that I developed over the years that helped me understand like how people move. So for example, like I understand that hurt people try to hurt people, right? Like, it ain't happy people who are trying to hurt people.
Yeah.
So if someone's genuinely trying to hurt me in the comments, it's like, bro, clearly they're going through something.
Yeah,
they're trying to
different,
right, to really hurt me. So, you know, developing that belief helped me. Also just looking at social media like it's a video game, bro. Like so there's so many, number one, bot accounts. You won't even know they're not even real people. That's for one. And number two, I just look at it like it's a video game. And I say that because all of the stuff that I've said over the years, all the times I may have triggered people, all the times I may have upset people said the craziest stuff to me in the comments and inbox and all that. Bro, I've been all over the country, been all types of events, schools, everywhere. It's always been nothing but love. Always been nothing but love.
Yeah, in person it's love. Like it's never you never see somebody that's got that energy, you know. Yeah.
Right. So just, and that's what I mean when I say I look at it like it's a video game, like it's just like not real. But then also too, what really helped me understand it was when I started growing on TikTok, right? Because before I really started growing on TikTok, I was already growing on Instagram, and I had already got to the point where most of the feedback that I was getting, it was just positive for the most part. So I was kind of used to that. And then I went over on TikTok, and it was a whole different culture over
People
there.
Like roasted, talking crap.
What? Hey, so they were coming at me crazy, right? So initially it was like it was like opening up some old wounds, and I'm like, yo, hold up, right? But then my daughter actually helped me understand it because they were younger at the time, and they had to like have private pages or no profile pictures up in order to have their page, or else it will get removed, right? Yeah. So I would always say to my kids, like, yo, you got these people, you know, these grown people with no profile picture, private pages talking crazy to me. And then they pointed out like, well, we have private pages too, and pages with no profile pic too. And they were young at the time, right? So it helped me understand like, yo, a lot of these people who are trolling and talking crazy, these are young kids.
Yeah,
they're young kids, you know? So that helped. And then I also started roasting them back. So like, for example, if I put up a post and I said, you know, this is $40 for a haircut type of thing, and somebody said, I would never pay you $40. Your haircuts are terrible. I would just reply and be like, bro, I wouldn't pay me $40 for the cut either. I'm trash. And
like, okay. Like,
but then they would be like, ha, 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 love your videos, man. Keep going. And it was like, it was like eye-opening to me. So those are just some of the understandings I came to and beliefs I developed that helped me deal with it. But I can understand for some people why it can be hard to really lock in on social media, because people can be mean,
bro.
It can be vicious over there.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about, right? Because like just even touching on that, I think the first video that went viral, shout out to Tank if you're still watching, bro.
Boy, Tank, that's my guy. Good dude, man.
Yeah, man. Like he commented on one of my very first viral video. I was just trying to figure out social media, and I said, "Oh yeah, if your haircuts take longer than 30 minutes, you're probably stuck at cutting hair." Mind you, I said properly. I'm very careful with my language, and because I didn't mean like you actually suck. But Tank,
hold up. Before you keep going, this is what you said. All right, you said if you take longer than 30 minutes on your haircut, you probably suck at cutting hair. The reality is that I think a lot of people, they take a lot longer than they should because they want to justify their price. And at the end of the day, you know, if you can't finish a cut in under 30 minutes, you got to learn more techniques or get better. Like for me personally, sitting in a chair for an hour and a half is a waste of time, and time is money. So
hell yeah.
You probably ended it with do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but yeah, go back to what you were saying. That triggers some people.
The narration is crazy.
Yeah.
But, hey, bro, that's it though. Like that video really blew me up, and it scared me up front because I had good people like Tank commenting their opinions, and people just kind of, you know, a lot of people that with big numbers like on their followings, they were like commenting, and I wasn't used to that. Yeah. I was that person that kind of blew up out of nowhere. They're like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Facts.
You know, and everybody said that, and I'm like okay with that because it was like that's the first thing. When I first saw you on social media, it was like Barbers, like that's what you used to do every video. Like you were consistently just branding yourself. And I remember that, and I was like, damn, who the hell is this guy screaming at me in the beginning of the video? But it's like there's always going to be a first time you listen to an artist. And you know, sometimes like, you know, you said you did music, right? You're either going to like what someone had to say or you're going to dislike their music, right? So that's kind of how I see social media. It's the same way. You can't please everybody. And I remember I think it was every single day I was waking up, there was like 100 to 200,000 views growing on that page from that specific post the whole week. And it got to me, you know what I mean? But then eventually I was like, I did the same thing you did. I was like, I have to accept that whoever's commenting all this negative stuff, who are you? Your haircuts are trash, you know, whatever it may be. I had to really get to a position where I was like, just genuinely like, okay, bro, social media isn't real. I was getting mad anxiety for like a whole week. And, you know, like you said, I understand now why people are scared of getting on social media, because you have to eventually get desensitized or develop, I guess, like, thicker skin to be on here and to continue to post. Because I'd be lying, man, if I told you like I didn't get discouraged sometimes and was like, man, this is taking an emotional toll. But I'm like, if it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, outside of being disciplined and posting all the time and like having to actually know your audience and know what works, you know? So,
yeah. And it's the other thing too that will trip us up. And I've been guilty of it in the past, and so many people are guilty of it. And I'm sure you're going to, you know, understand exactly where I'm coming from, is when things like that start to happen and you find yourself just wrapped up in the comments all day, right? Like where you're just drive by. Welcome to Gem Talk. Who's that?
That's my marketing guy, man. I needed help. I needed help with editing and stuff nowadays.
Oh man, tell him I said what's up. Yeah. But yeah, so like just getting consumed with the comments and feeling the need to like respond to people and feeling the need to just like read everyone. And next thing you know, it's just taking you. It's like sucking energy from you all day. Because even if you're not scrolling on the comments, there's that part of you that is like thinking of what they're saying, wanting to see what they're going to say, how you're going to respond.
You obsess over it.
Yeah, you like obsess over it. So, you know, another belief that like helped me too when it comes to that is just the understanding that you don't have to change anybody's mind, and that people are free to think whatever they want and feel whatever they want, just the same way I am, right? So once that belief got ingrained in me too, like, people can think whatever they want, feel however they want. It's not up to me to change their perspective. It's not up to me to change their mind. That's when it got a lot easier too, because, you know, I'm competitive. I can debate. I'll argue. I got that fighter nature just like you do. So if I don't come to that conclusion in that perspective,
it'll drive you crazy.
It will, because I'll just go back and forth with you just all day.
Yeah,
so
I'm letting it go.
You know, but like you said though, like, it has helped me show more empathy to people who may not want to go all the way in on social media, because I was overlooking that at first because I'm so numb to it. Even when I was doing my course, like that was a lot that part of the conversation I didn't cover much because I didn't even think to do it. It's just I'm all worried about telling you different apps to use, how to do the hook, how to hold people's attention, cause all of that stuff. But then it's like, bro, some people just don't know how to deal with the comments. So
Yeah, it's a person that you have to harden yourself for sure.
Yeah. So it helped though. It helped me be able to help other people now, help them try to navigate some of that. And then it also helped me understand that at the end of the day, social media is just not going to be for everybody. Some people may never get to that point where they can handle that. And that's okay because you don't need it. You know what I mean?
Well, and let me ask you this though. Like, I feel the same way about business. Like, what do you
Yeah.
think about business? I feel like not every barber is meant to be a business owner. I feel like in terms of owning your own business behind the chair and subleasing, or maybe
Yeah.
owning your own studio, like to a smaller, I think that's dope. But not everybody's meant to delegate or lead. Like, how do you
Yeah.
feel about ownership? Do you feel like everybody has to become a business owner?
Bro, I feel like 99% of people aren't business owners. I
Yeah,
feel like, I mean, obviously that's me being social media and being extreme with it, right? But the
yeah,
point is that most people are not business owners or not meant to be leaders or be in that position of entrepreneur or business owner. I just think it's it's a idea that's been sold to us,
mm,
and so many people will come across memes or different people breaking down why it's better to build your own dream or else you're building somebody else's, and it starts creating these ideas in people that make them think they have to be their own boss and they have to be, an entrepreneur. And so many of them end up being miserable, and end
yeah,
up just not being successful. And so many of them rather settle for a whole grape rather than a slice of a watermelon type of thinking. And I think most people would be better off if they just accepted the fact that they are not um, they're not business owners. And that may be something crazy for me to say, but just meeting as many people as I have and having a conversation with many people as I have, I think most people would be a lot better off if they were in a scenario where they were following a good leader and were in a good system, and they were just focused on being good at what they're good at and building what they're building.
singular. Yep.
They'd be a lot better off. But because they see some stuff on social media, because one of their clients sits in their chair and goes, well, why are you making Marv rich? You could open your own spot.
Yep.
It starts feeding them. And next thing you know, they're out trying to do what they think they're supposed to be doing,
Struggling, bro.
and
Yeah.
then struggling, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like when you think about some of the greatest leaders or successful business people, right? Would you be more successful working on your own to build up your own thing, or working right alongside of them or underneath their leadership and guidance?
Well, check this out, right? Like, I just immediately thought about an example. Like, you could be the owner of a basketball franchise, right? And you'll make a lot of money, but you have to run a business. You have a lot of people to pay. You
Yeah,
have employees. There's a whole system and a structure you have to follow. Or you could be LeBron James. You could be a
yeah,
really good basketball player. You can be Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. Or, you can be a Jordan. And
yeah,
like, you get paid hundreds of millions to have a contract. There's no different way. There's different ways to be successful. And one
yeah.
is just on your own, working on yourself and doing the best what you can inside of a franchise, or you could be the owner of a franchise. I don't think there's anything wrong with, focusing on either one or the other.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
And I remember Kevin Durant took a lot of backlash when he said that he didn't want to be number one on a team. He's not a leader, right? And he took a lot of backlash on social media. Everybody's just like, he don't have the heart, he don't have the grit, he don't have. And it's like, bro, at least he knows who he is. He knows where
that's
he
it.
fits in. He knows where he shines the best. He knows what his position in life, and that's okay, because at
Well,
the end of the day, everything is an ecosystem. Everything is a system. Everybody can't be LeBron James. You got to have
nope.
LeBron. You got to have Austin Reeves. You got to have Jackson Hayes, the center. Like, everybody can't be LeBron, but we live
Yep.
in a time where everybody's telling you that you need to be LeBron. And it's like,
Mhm.
bro, not everybody is LeBron.
Well, there was something I heard recently, like, do you want to be accepted or do you want to have peace?
Yeah.
And I feel like being accepted or wanting to be accepted by others isn't what people make it out to be. I think if people are going to love you, they need to love you for who you are. Or, like, better said, right? It's better to be hated for who you are than to be accepted for who you're not. And
Yeah.
that's something that's always stuck to me. That's something that's gotten me through my social media stuff, by the way. It's like, if people rock with me, they're going to love me for who I am, or they're going to hate me for who I am, but at least I'm being, like, genuine. Like, if you look behind me, I got pants over there. Like, I didn't under prepare. Like, I care about my appearance, but this is who I am. Like, this is my
Yeah.
house. I'm not hiding anything, and I think a lot of people, and that's something that you told me once that inspired me. You're like, you're bringing different kind of content, and I really appreciate that about you. You're not just like stealing someone else's content or remaking it. It's like you're being yourself and authentically you. So I was like, I ran with that. Like that was inspiring to me, by the way. So it's like, I think about that all the time, man. I feel like there's not enough people that have that hard conversation, look in the mirror, and actually try to like be honest with who they are and where they're going to work best. Like where can I position myself to do best? So I don't know, man. I had this conversation with one of my buddies. He was a barber that rented out a studio, and I think he fit better there because he was unhappy at a barbershop, but he didn't want the responsibility of owning his own barbershop. So he made a decision to start a studio. There's people that love the environment of being inside of a barbershop, and they just want to make a lot of money behind the chair. And then there's people like me. I hate being told what to do, but at the same time, I know I have it in me to delegate. Like I've always wanted to delegate and run a system and, help people get to where I've been financially behind the chair. You know what I mean? So it's different for everybody for sure.
Yeah. And I think if we can get to if we can get to a spot, we can open it up to some questions and stuff like that. But what I was going to say is, if we can get better in society at just accepting that, one thing is not necessarily better than the other. Like the person who is the suite owner that is making $100,000 a year, owning their own suite and running their own business is not better than the person that's working in a barbershop making $100,000 a year, cutting from behind the chair. It's just at the end of the day, are they both happy? Do they both enjoy what they do? Are they able to use barbering to help do some of the other things that they want to do in life? And if the answers to those questions are yes, then who's to say, one's better than the other? I think it's just frowned upon so much. Like, in our industry, like if I worked for you, right, and I worked for you for 10 years and everything is going good in my world, but I worked for you for 10 years or 12 years. And somebody's like, one of the clients is like, why don't you own your own shop yet? Like you work for this man for 12 years. Like at what point are you going to open your own? It's almost like there are times where the barber culture will look at another barber as a failure in an instance like that. Like
it's crazy.
You should be an owner by now. Like, why are you still working for somebody when you're 12 years in? If anything, go get your own space. And it's like, well, why though? Like,
I mean, I think Will Stamp said that, bro. The industry lacks self-awareness, and I think that is why most struggle. Like, you get to a place where you want to like look at yourself and say, because I don't know, that people get in their head and they think they can run it. Like, there's a buddy of mine. He's owned his own shop and he's talked about wanting to open up a second location. But the moment he gets a little more serious or like, he's rented all his chairs out, what ends up happening is 2 or 3 people leave him at once. So then it kind of sets him back and he's not able to open the second one. And he doesn't understand why that's happening. I'd be open to giving a free game, but there's that saying, don't give advice, unsolicited advice when no one asks you, right? So like, I look at it and I'm like, he's been open longer than me. He started his business back in 2020 and I'm already on my 3rd location. And I have people lined up waiting to start at every single one of my locations. So it's like, why did I do that? Why was I able to do that? And it's maybe just because simply put, like some people are just better leaders or they're better at delegating. And some people are just really good at being behind the chair and being busy, but there's nothing wrong with that. Right. Yeah. So I feel like the industry really has like planted an ugly seed, in people's brain where like, if you're just a barber for 12 years, I'm like, man, I struggle with that. And I think sometimes, Mauro, I'm like, should I quit business? Should I just go back to cutting hair, maybe charge a lot more and just stack up and I'll have that responsibility? Like I deal with that struggle still,
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah. So what I'll say to you guys tuned in real quick before I piggyback off of some of what he said is, if you guys got questions, ask the questions in the chat. If they're in alignment with what we're currently talking about, I'm sure me, or Cowboy Casanova. What is your actual name?
My name is Luis, bro. Luis.
All right, bet. I'm calling you Cowboy Casanova. So Luis, right? So if me or Luis see it and it's in alignment with what we're talking about, we can address it. If it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, you're just trying to ask a question, ask it. I can star it, save it, so we can come back to it at a later point if we do like a Q&A segment, or if it's just in alignment with what we're talking about at the time. So just shoot your questions in the chat. Also, make sure you guys share this with somebody. Share this to your group chats. If you got barbers that you feel like could benefit from this conversation, or just anybody in your life that you feel like can benefit from this conversation, shoot it to them as well. Hit that like button. Make sure you follow Cowboy Casanova 93 on all social media platforms. Subscribe to the channel. All of that fun stuff. So you said 3 shops. You're going on your third. Since you started in 2020 was when you opened your first?
No, that was my buddy I was speaking on. I started in 2022.
2022, and you're going on your third in 2025.
Yeah. So I started in a studio, so I have that experience. I was calling around a couple places.
Wait, so you started in a studio? What do you mean? Like as soon as you started cutting hair?
So my background is this: like I started cutting hair. The industry lacked good customer service.
Yeah, think.
Yeah, bro, it is crazy. Like it's crazy. Like I had my Britney Spears moments, where I went in, I asked for like an undercut. I don't know if you remember, the man buns were extremely cool and popular at a certain point, and I was trying to grow my hair out, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to grow out an undercut." The barber didn't care what I asked for, and they gave me a comb over, hard part and everything. And I'm like sitting there as a customer at 23 years old, and I'm like pissed off. I'm sweating in the chair, bro, because I was so mad. I get back to my house and I just shaved my head. Like I was just really upset that he cut off like 2 or 3 inches of growth that I had going on the top. And that happened the second time. I tried growing it out, tried to get a haircut. Person gave me a comb over. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't even give me like a proper consultation. And that's something I stress on all my businesses now. Like when people sit in your chair, ask every detail, repeat it to them so they know that you listen, and then start the haircut. But the people just lack a good consultation. They lack really good customer service nowadays. That's one of the biggest complaints we get from a lot of the other shops locally from new customers. So I became a barber. I learned how to cut hair to save money, so I could come out here and not have to pay for it anymore. And then before you knew it, like I loved it. I love cutting hair. When I was getting off of work, I was a mechanic, as they call it. I had grease everywhere, always smelling like grease. On a Friday night, I would go do house calls, have like 7 of like the high school kids that I was locked in with lined up.
Who were you learning from? Whose videos and stuff were you watching?
360 Jeezy.
360,
bro. Like,
Let's go.
I remember I obsessed over how to do a fade for 2 weeks straight watching the same video.
Yeah.
And I finally did my first fade. Took me about an hour and a half. Was super horrible, whatever. But I started learning from him, and then I started practicing. I would watch random videos online, and house calls. From house calls, I went to a barbershop called Fern's Barbershop in Moreno Valley. He has 2 locations. He's been in business over 10 years. He used to cut up a Triple G. I don't know if you know the boxer, Gennady Golovkin.
Triple G, man. He got robbed versus Canelo the first time, and I'm not arguing with you about it.
The first time, right? The first time I agree.
Last time they fought, he got beat up. He looked old, but he's
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, he used to cut him up. He was like he's like the boxing barber here locally. Robert Garcia, he's a famous trainer. He's in Riverside County, and he trains a lot of like pro boxers here from all over the world. So he cuts up a lot of these guys. He was cutting up Triple G up in Big Bear, and he's the one that got me connected to some of like these like celebrity boxers that I've cut up as well. And it was just a great experience. It was way before everybody was doing appointments, right before COVID, right, where it's all a pure walk-in shop. So I was like forced to cut fast. That's what a lot of people don't know. I think when you're put in an environment where like you have no appointments, everybody wants to walk in on a Friday, and you got like 50 people waiting in the waiting area outside, and everybody's like, damn, I better like hurry up so I can like lock in. But you also got to bust out quality because you're gonna get fired. So you're like you learn under pressure, and I went to Dallas for a little bit. I fell into the trap, right? I went to Dallas. I was like, man, maybe life is better out there, man. It was fun until it was just boring. But I had my experiences out there, met some cool people, and I realized I want to be back here with family. I was like, why am I going to be successful if it ain't with family? I locked in at one of my buddy's shop, Toto's Barber Studio, and then I was there for a couple months till I found a place, but everybody was denying me in business. And this is for the chat, for everybody watching, guys. Like in business, when you're negotiating for a location, you need to have something called leverage, right? I had no leverage. I had a little bit of money. I had probably like 20 grand in my name. I saved up. I was trying to talk to these people, and all these people were just like cutthroat. They were like, yeah, you're a barber, but you barely have any money. Why should we trust you? So I ended up renting out a studio for from renting a studio, I was able to build a Google profile, a Yelp business profile. I built my reviews. I started doing marketing because I didn't have a storefront, obviously. So that's why I really started realizing that marketing was extremely important in business. And from there, I built leverage. 2 months later, I get a call back from one of these leasing agents, and they hit me up and they're like, "Hey, you still want that opportunity?" They're like, "Yeah, well, what have you done since then?" That's exactly what he asked me. And I was like, "Well, check it out. I got a corporation started. I got a salon studio. It's a business. It's a commercial property. It's not at my house. I'm not a garage barber. You can look us up. I had a website. I had everything set up. In 2 months, I built a brand, which is the RB logo, right? I built the brand. I started the website. I got my Google reviews up. I think in 2 months, I got over 100 reviews because I was locking in with all my clients. Like, hey, leave an honest review. I wasn't asking for a specific 5-star. I was saying all that. And when I was just like, hey, leave reviews, do what you're going to do, be honest about it. I was at a 5-star review, over 100 reviews in 2 months on Google. And I sent them my profile. I was like, I got a little bit less money because I started the salon studio, but I'm only going to lock in if you guys want to take an opportunity. And, shout out to Dylan, man. He gave me an opportunity. And, the ranch is what it is now. We're 3 shops in, man, in less than 3 years.
Yeah, so that's dope. Shout outs to you for that. I feel like we should drop some fire emojis in the chat because if he already on shop number 3 this quick, he doing something. He doing something right.
Something's going on, right? Yeah,
doing something right. I hope he ain't going too fast, but
yeah,
he doing something right. But for your time you spent in the studio, when you say you were focused on marketing, what were some of the things that you were doing specifically? Because a lot of people who are in studios right now are struggling, bro. Like they're struggling, and most of them aren't going to say that out loud, but they're struggling to get clients. They're finding out the hard way that it's not as easy as just posting a TikTok and the line is flooded.
Before and after or something. Yeah.
So what were like some of the specific things you were doing? I know you said you were getting reviews, and that's huge.
Bigger than people think. Yeah. So I would say I've done my research on that. If I'm being honest, I think a lot of people, they lack the self-awareness on knowing that, like, yeah, you can be good on TikTok and on social media, but I've seen a lot of people when you go to like any like solo salons or these bigger names where people are renting out these studios, they have like their business, like they'll have a wall or like a screen, depending on where you go, with like the business name for the salon studio. And what ends up happening, right, is you look them up and they're nowhere to be found on Google. Their business is nowhere on Google. They don't have a profile for people to put in, on the search bar in Safari or Google, whatever, if you have an Android or an iPhone, and they're not able to look up your business. It's not real to them, right? Like if people don't know about you, you're either not posting enough or you're not marketing well enough. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They get into a salon studio thinking I'm just going to carry my clients over, and they don't have a Google profile. They're not tagging their clients and getting to shout them out like, hey, like I'm going to record your after, post it on your story, and then I'm going to tag you, just repost it. People don't understand how vital that is. Like marketing isn't just posting a reel or posting a picture, right? Marketing is also using your clients that have been loyal, that have been rocking with you, to like, post them on your story, tag them, hey, bro, can you repost it? Like, I would really appreciate it. I've had many people when I was like super slow, I would do that. And they were like, yeah, bro, I seen your haircut. I was looking for a new barber, and I'm scrolling through, the stories on Instagram, and I popped up and the haircut popped up. And I was like, damn, that's fire. I'm gonna go check them out. A lot of people don't get that, like, good marketing goes a lot farther than just posting a reel. It's about being intentional. It's about still passing out business cards, giving out free haircuts. Marv, you said that one time in the reel. I remember that. It's better for you to be busy with the free cut and get a potential returning client, or get some marketing from that free cut that's going to help your business anyway. It's all an investment. So if you were to ask me, I would say most people in salon studios aren't building their own Google profile. That's like the biggest issue. They can't be found online.
Yeah. So yeah. And bro, Google's so underrated. I just did a post not that long ago that actually went pretty viral saying that like Google is a cheat code for barbers. Bro, like if you can build up a solid Google presence, if you're in the clientele building stage of your career where you need to get people in the door, if you can build up a solid Google presence, bro, and get a bunch of reviews, have a bunch of nice pictures up, and it's your Google My Business is laid out professionally, that will work wonders for you organically. And then if you take $5-10 a day and start investing that into Google ads, it's going to work even that much more for you. Next thing you know, you got a few calls coming in every single day,
Yeah.
as long as everything is set up right. And you
Yeah.
might think, well, a few calls don't seem like a lot, but if you have a good retention rate, you're doing good at cutting hair, you got great customer service, you're good at retaining people, that them one or two that come in and see you from Google every day, think about what that could possibly grow into, right? That you might get somebody in there that knows everybody, that's has so much influence within their friend group or in their circle. And next thing you know, that one person you got from a Google ad is now bringing you, 12 new people over the course of
That's it.
the lifetime of you cutting them.
Word of mouth. I mean,
yeah,
I tell people all the time, how did people do business before social media or the internet? If you go back to do those basics immensely well, right, which word of mouth is one of them, like you should have no problem in business. Everything else is just a multiplier, So, I mean, I would add one more thing, Marv, is too many people move into salon studios not being established already. I think salon studios are for people that are already established, because I don't think not everybody has that dog in them to like market and be on it and be their marketing director and also be, the short film editor, you know what I mean? Which is, you're both essentially. When you're creating reels, you're editing the stuff, you're adding captions, you're literally the film, right? The film editor, the marketing guy, right? You're everything. You're the business owner. Like when you first start, you're wearing every single cap. And that's the problem. Not everybody has it in them to be more than just a barber. So I would recommend, if I'm talking to you guys directly, I would tell you, get established first. If you don't like where you work, but it's a busy shop, put up with it. That's the sacrifice, and that's the investment you're making for your future. Put up with it, get busy, build your clientele before you leave. If you're under one of those umbrella contracts or situations with the owner, get the number of every single client you have. It might take forever. Who cares? Do that before you let them know you're going to leave, and then move into a salon studio. If you don't want to actually start a barbershop, guys, there's a proper way to do something or scale your business, or you're going to be comfortable no matter where you're at. So unless you're like not established enough and the demand for you isn't there, then I would wait until you get to a place where you're comfortable, where you're like, okay, I'm booked out a week ahead of time, where you can go to a salon studio nearby and then make that transition over. So you don't have to work as hard to like market yourself, for sure.
I love it. So, and again, just not again, but to plug in some, shameless plug, join Marv's Barber School. For more info, go to itsmarvymarv.com. I got a ton of clientele building strategies in there, a bunch of classes, hours worth of stuff where I'm teaching you how to create content that attracts customers, and, some traditional old school ways to go about creating customers. It's like a nice mix of old school versus new school. So if you don't want to figure it all out on your own and you would like some help, you would like, some mentorship and coaching, you can just go either to itsmarvymarv.com or you go to the link in the description of this video and sign up for the Barber School. And speaking of clientele, you also said this, bro. You also said, so you want to join barber competitions to impress other men. All right. All right. You made some people upset with that one. You also said, the truth is all these competitions are full of barbers, not clients. So when clients go to your chair, they're not going to these competitions, find you there. You want to do a good haircut and get more clients, do a good job in the chair. 99% of your clientele is going to be built behind a chair at the shop, not from these competitions, those plastic trophies, that you're wanting to win. So my opinion, instead of trying to win these plastic trophies in these competitions, win every day behind the chair and win at life. And you said, guys, do better. You want to expand on some of them thoughts?
All right. So obviously using words, right? Like, guys, number one, shout out to Marv, join Barber School. He's a lot of what I know is because of this guy. Now he knows. If he says he claims he didn't, but now he knows. You know what I mean, guys? Join this program. He's been in the game for long enough to help you guys out for sure. But now I will say this: the competitions, I've been to a few. One of them was like one of the most famous barbers out there, and I met the guy. Cool people. Didn't really get to meet him personally, but I see him, said hi and bye. I went to these competitions, and the very first thing I realized, there was no clients there. Yes, it is a good way to showcase your art and your skill, but Marv, you know this. Back in the day when there was competitions, it was like, a 10-minute fade, like crazy stuff, right? Like cool stuff, but it was simple. Now it's becoming more of an art show. People go dripped in designer, and they come in Chucky costumes, and they're like painting half their face. And that's what it is, Like, I personally don't feel like it's the most important thing. Does it have its benefits? You know, transformation cuts, blogs. My guy, like, I agree. I think that that image of, it's like kind of wearing a designer like suit, right? If you're wearing, you know, designer suit, you're driving a Lamborghini, people are going to assume you're rich. It's an assumption of being rich. Having a trophy is an assumption that you're going to give them a great haircut. Now, 99% of the time, you're probably capable of delivering that. But my thing is this, and I can't say this enough, and I will stand on business when I say this, guys. Like, a good barber is past giving a great haircut. At the end of the day, I feel like a barber battle is for people to showcase their art, but it's not something that's going to like pay your bills or feed your family. Unless there's like a prize, which there never is. Like, let's keep it a buck. 99% of the time, it's just for clout. It's to get clapped for and to be recognized. But there's no money or prize in most of these competitions. There's a small trophy, a medium trophy, and a large one. Oh, I got the large trophy, and, you know, your ego gets a little bit bigger. That's all that happens from it. If you ask me, I think that's dope. But like, I like to stand on the side of like taking care of your clients, giving a great consultation, right? Like I said earlier, like what got me into barbering, giving a great haircut and a great experience, not just a great haircut, but a great experience for the customer. I think just craps on the idea of going to a battle and being clapped on for a bunch of people, right? It's the same reason I tell people, you go to the gym, work out for yourself. Don't work out to be told by another man, right? That you look good. You know what I mean? Like, go for yourself, impress yourself. You know, at the end of the day, like, I kind of look at it like, if you're not paying attention to your clients and doing what matters to you on a day-to-day basis, a barber battles for ego. And if it makes you happy and if it does help with clients, it's just another way to network. It is what it is. You know, like, it's a good way of marketing yourself, and it might bring value to yourself. It might make you feel cool. And if that makes you happy, like, I'm okay with that. You know, a lot of the times I'm just giving a one-sided opinion to create an argument, guys. But, you know, realistically, I did see the beauty of barber battles. I did see the beauty of barber battles when I went, and I just seen it as art. That was it. It had nothing to do with cutting hair. I honestly don't believe it has anything to do with cutting hair, especially now when people are spray painting things, adding glitter. You know, people are coming in with like legit Halloween masks. You know, it's not cutting hair anymore. It's just an art, and you're showcasing your art. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and that's why I love doing these type of gem talks too, because it gives you an opportunity to do long form content
yeah,
and and share more insight on how you view things, right? Like, I was explaining this to somebody before. There's only so much you can say in an Instagram reel or TikTok, right?
yeah,
Once you understand what you're doing on social media, like, you now understand, like, there's only so much you can say. You got to get to the point. You got to create something that starts a conversation. Being polarizing is always beneficial when it comes to content. So when you say certain things and make certain pieces of content, people think that that's the only perspective you have. And it's like, you're wrong. It's this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third. And it's like, I
yeah,
know, bro, but
yeah,
this is all I can say in 30 seconds. Because if
yeah.
I was going to make a 4-minute reel saying all of this stuff, you would scroll by it. You're not going to watch. So this gets your attention. This starts the conversation. And then if we want to, we go in the comments and we say,
Yeah,
you know,
start clapping back.
right,
100%. But see,
But like, what I will say about barber battles is I've had different ways of looking at it through my career too, right? And that's why I was like, all right, I love that you shared it right before this, because I'm like, all right, this is gonna be great to help get people, you know, to eyes on you, and then
yeah.
eyes on this conversation to be able to hear more from you. So I'm like, perfect timing.
Well, you joined barber battles back in the day.
So that's what I'm gonna say.
I
So
went all the way down. I seen your designs. I know you were doing it. So how
so
have you
my
seen it
career
transform?
record, in barber battles is
Mhm.
0-2. I'm 0-2 career, right?
Okay.
I've judged more barber battles than I've competed in, right?
Mm.
And the only actual barber battle that I competed in that was a big barber battle was at the Universal Barber Expo way back. I competed with my partner at the time. We did tag team design, and we got
Mm.
smoked, bro. We got, like, I remember doing my part, and I had my time, and then the person was like, all right, switch. So I switched so he could go. I turned
Yeah.
around, bro. This dude had a whole Statue of Liberty in somebody's head with like glitter and stuff. I'm like, we're cooked. Because I'm just doing squiggles in the net. We're cooked,
You're
right?
like, I'm doing a couple lines here and there, and that's it.
Cooked, right? So I lost that. So then driving back, right, I was tight because I'm competitive, right? And I'm like, yo, I got to get back. I got to win. I can't be going out like that. I can't be getting smoked, right? But then time passed and emotions wore off, and I ended up going to like a couple more events after that, and I didn't compete. But the main reason I didn't compete is because I developed the understanding of this. I started looking at some of the people that really inspired me, and I noticed that they weren't competing. They were showcasing at their booths. They were doing classes, right? They were standing on the stage hosting the event. Like, they weren't actually in the battles. They were judging the battles, right? Or they were organizing the battles. And I'm like, these are the type of people I want to be like, right? So, one of the hacks in life is, when you see somebody doing some of the things you want to do, just do what you see them doing. And then eventually maybe you could be doing what they do, right? So at that point I said, I'm not going to compete no more. And maybe I'm going to organize one. So that's when I did the New York State Barber Expo. I put together an event, hosted barber battles, a part of it. I hired Jay Majors for that. Did that 2 years in a row. I ended up judging a bunch of battles. I hated that because as I started mingling with the people, getting to know people, and they started knowing me, that's where I have the most fun at events, is all that networking. And when I was judging events, I was in the back the whole time, looking at hair and staring at haircuts. So I started telling people, I'm like, listen, I know you want to hire me to judge so you can put me on the flyer and, use my influence to get people there. Put me on a flyer. Say I'm going to be a special guest, or let me do a class or something, or let me host. I'll be a part of it, but I don't want to judge. I'm not trying to be, cooked in the back. So again, I judged more than I could, by a long shot, than I competed in. And then the second time I battled was against Drew the Barber on the Barber versus, which was a real fun experience because we trolled each other, and it's just a whole marketing thing that was super dope. But I say all that to say, there was a time where I thought that barber battles were a complete waste of time. And there are a lot of instances nowadays where I still think that. But then again, I also think there are benefits, like I shared to Stitch your video, where I was saying like the confidence builder, the networking, the opportunity to be able to learn techniques from some of the other people compete in, ask questions. And there are these benefits that can come from it, right? I've learned that over the course of time. And then more importantly, if you just enjoy doing that, like you just love to do that, I'm a big proponent of do the things in life that ultimately make you happy, right? So if that genuinely makes you happy, go for it. But, I will always argue too that for most people, in most instances, doing all of the barber battle stuff is not going to create the things that they're looking to create, and I don't think most people are looking to get clientele. That's what your video, I feel like you were talking about, like, people aren't really looking to get clientele, but they're competing to get that clout, to get notoriety, to get those brand deals. That's the main reason I think a lot of them are doing it, or to make money, right? And most of them aren't going to do that. Most of them aren't going to make money because they're not going to win. They're going to feel like they got robbed, or the event is not going to pay them because they don't have the money to pay them because nobody showed up for the event. So now they got to, I know I promised you 1,000, but here's 100, right? So, a lot of times the brands aren't going to notice them because people just go up there and cut and don't think marketing. They don't think to put on a show, stand out. Like, they just stand on the stage and cut, so they don't get a lot of the brand deals. So, I still think in a lot of instances it can be a waste of time doing it. If you're trying to do those things, there's other ways that you can do it that could be more effective. But again, if you just enjoy doing it, you love doing it, go for it. But that's it. Barber up there.
Yeah, it has
not
to
even
be
judging either.
It has to be I think it has to be something that you just personally want, like, don't look at it as an investment, because a lot of the times it won't be. So I 100% agree with you there. I think even speaking on brand deals, right? Like, I've had names reach out to me, and I think I asked you an opinion on that too, right? But like with brand deals, bro, like I had JRL, who is it? Booms World.
Yep.
Yeah. He hit my line and he was like, hey, bro, like we mess with your content, this and that. And they sent me a care package, and they didn't ask me for anything.
Yep.
So I still gave him a shout out. We collabed on a video of me doing like a haircut every 30 minutes for the rest of the day, and I did like 26 haircuts. It was like a Friday or something. It hit over 100,000 views. I did them a solid to shout them out. I used the JRL clipper. Not a big fan myself. They cut too slow. You know what I mean? So they're
You're not a fan of the JRL?
I think they're detail clippers. I think they're amazing if you're getting in there, like you really want to get in there. But like,
I don't want to cut off your story. What are you a fan of before you go on to your other point?
Instincts, the instincts that don't blow up, like
Oh, yeah, yeah. You
100%.
got
Yeah.
the batch after the first batch that's
Yeah.
going
Bro,
boom,
you know
boom.
what's crazy? I have the first batch, and till this day, I've been
Oh,
okay.
come on,
So
don't say that, bro. Don't say
hey,
that.
you know what
Nah, you
happened?
good.
It died on me. It died on me, and I had to
Yeah,
fix it myself. I had one of my barbers that knows how to do all that crap, so he ended up fixing the clipper for me. So yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. It's been running, but
yeah. They're
that and
powerful.
I like them because they're powerful, bro. And I cut fast. Like I used to box for a couple years, so
Yeah,
I got hands. I can catch fades and throw and do fades,
yeah.
but like I
You
used to
gotta
box.
have some. You gotta be able to have some hands if you're gonna run your mouth on social media like you do.
Dude, I'm confident. I'm
Just
good.
not,
Like
I mean, nobody's gonna mess with you, but just in case there's that one feeling froggy, you might have
yeah.
to get hit with a 4-5-2-3-2 real
and,
quick. You
and be
know?
able to take it to the chin,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But
Right.
now, yeah, I used to box, bro. I got this tatted. It was like a big part of my life, and like growing up, you know, when I like around 20, I started, and I did it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, so like I feel like I developed the jab, and you have to have a quick jab, so my fast twitch muscles are there, so I'm
Yeah.
able to really move fast, you know. So for me, like cutting with the clipper that matches the way that you cut matters. Like the JRL clippers, bro, like they're just too slow for me personally. Like
Yeah.
I felt like it made me drag my haircuts out.
Yeah.
Haircuts were coming out great still, but it like made my haircuts another 10 minutes longer because it like forced me to like slow down. So I
Gotcha.
think that's important too when you guys are picking out clippers, you know, like make sure it matches the kind of haircuts that you want to do. If it's something that you want to be a 1 hour haircut guy and charge more, maybe whatever it may be, like pick
Yeah.
a clipper that's going to be about detail and making a perfect cut, you know?
So you
Um,
said you made the video for Boom with the JRLs, right?
Yeah,
And
well, I collabed with Gerald USA's page. They're one of the bigger pages and bigger brands that sent me a care package, and I showed them love by doing that. And you know, I would tell like guys when you're looking to be someone online, learn from Marvy Marv. He's done it for 10 years. He's been consistent. He's been disciplined. He knows his audience, and that's why he gets recognized. That's why he goes to these places. And possibly, I'm just going to assume. I'm not going to ask because it's personal, but you know, you get paid to show up to places
yeah.
because you build a brand, right? You build a brand, you build yourself up on social media. It's free. It just takes discipline, it takes consistency, and it takes work. Like barber battles aren't going to be something that you're going to benefit a lot from, but it's going to be more for like your ego, your personal confidence. It's going to be something that might help you in the moment, but once you wake up the next day, nothing matters anymore. You know what I mean? Like it left. That feeling in that moment left. And are you making more money from it? Did you get any clients from it? That's why I tell you guys, like, yes, I could buy random trophies and just lie that I won
Yeah,
barber
imagine
battles.
your wall had a bunch of trophies back there. I'd be like, this dude. That would have been funny. You should have
Being
maybe
a
scheduled this out a
hypocrite.
little longer. Maybe that's part 2. You go on another rant about this on your
Hey,
page, and
by
then
the
when we go
way,
live, you have a bunch of just like baseball trophies or something in the back. That would be
nah,
great.
man. Hey, honestly, like that's what I'm getting at. Like anybody could go buy trophies and make up that they won battles, you know, like years ago. And if people walk in and they're like, yeah, I've seen all your trophies. That's why, yeah, you can lie about crap and market yourself that way too. That's why I'm like, what really matters, guys, even if it helps, you know, marketing yourself, even if brands do recognize you in business, having good customer service or being respectful, you know, when you're talking to brands and being able to like have leverage, like I was talking about the leasing agent. All these things are skills in business that matter way more than winning a barber battle. In order
Yeah,
to be successful in life, it's past being able to do an amazing haircut. That's just art. And I respect that. I respect the art. I respect the experience. But you have to look past that, you know, like me, Marv, if it means anything, my goal on social media is just to be like raw with people, right? Be honest and tell people like what it really takes to succeed. Like that's my niche. You know, I tell it how it hurts to trigger people, but realistically, there's always, in my opinion, at least good information in what I'm saying. You know, I try to
yeah,
push people towards just being real and building their clients behind the chair through good customer experiences. So
yeah. You really hone in on what you do, and that's why I appreciate you. I think a lot of your messages. I think they're great messages, right? And again, my perspective is a little different than the average person because I'm looking at it through a marketing lens, right? Like, and
yeah,
and guys, I encourage you to do that too. Like, stop getting so triggered from social media, bro. Like, a lot of the stuff can be very intentional. Like, the funniest part I find is when people will come on your post and leave a whole bunch of comments saying that you shouldn't have said
paragraph.
that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do this, but they're there on every post, and they're sharing it to people saying how much they don't like it, and it's like, bro, you
They're
can't
helping you.
see that what I'm doing is working. You're telling me what I shouldn't do, right? But if I didn't do it, you wouldn't be here, leaving comment after comment and helping boost me in the algorithm. So like, take a step back, bro, and realize that maybe I'm doing something right, even if you don't agree with maybe how I'm delivering the message. To step back and say, okay, like maybe there's more to this than just, I'm starting at saying, you suck. like think about it, guys. Really think about it. If he made the same video, right? And he's like, so you take longer than 30 minutes to do a haircut? Well, you probably got to get a little bit better, right? That's probably not going to trigger many people. If he says, so you take 30 minutes to do a haircut? Well, if you take 45, that's cool too, but you should strive to get to 30. That's probably not going to get a lot of people paying attention. But if he says, if you take 30 minutes to do a haircut, or you take more than 30 minutes to do a haircut, you probably suck at cutting hair. Now everybody's there in the comments, right?
Everybody's like, I take 45 minutes and I charge 100. Like, I don't suck. And I'm like, duh.
Right. Like, clearly, bro. Clearly. Yeah. So just take notes of some of that when it comes to the the social media stuff. But just to add on to some stuff you're saying about the barber battles and all that, I agree with pretty much, your view when you're looking at it that way. And guys, it is true. Like, if you want to connect with some of these clipper companies or any of these brands in the industry, you want to work with them and get some free clippers or possibly get paid to go to events and stuff like that, you got to bring something to the table. You got to build something to bring to the table, right? Like, make a name for yourself. One of the things that people used to always say, and they still say to this day, is, companies only pick people that have the big followings. And it's like, first and foremost, that's not necessarily true, because there are people who don't have big followings that do work with these companies, right? But secondly, if that's the case, if that's the way you see it, they only pick people with big followings, and you want to work with these companies, build your damn following. Why are you complaining? Like, that's one thing I noticed early on. Some of the people doing the cool stuff I wanted to do had big followings. So I said, all right, I got to get my following up. I sit there and whine about it. And so many of you guys will start whining, and it's just like, no, you got to build something, bring something to the table, bring something of value if you want these companies to work with you. If you don't have a big following, be good at selling. Go to these events and prove to the company you can sell their clipper. They want more sales. So they're either going to use social media for exposure, or maybe they hire you to come to the event and work the front desk, and you're selling the hell out of clippers there, right? And that's your in to get in with the company, right? But you got to bring something of value. Always work to build your brand up. Always work to make a name for yourself. Like, when I used to go to these events, bro, like, I don't know if you probably seen on my page. I don't know how long you guys been following me, but I used to go to these events in these flashy, loud, obnoxious jackets and flashy, loud, obnoxious shoes, right? And it was because they started conversations. The most randomest people at the event would point at my shoes. Yo, them shoes are fire. Yo, them shoes are dope. Look at my jacket. Yo, that jacket's fire. And it started a conversation that ultimately led to me being able to network with different people and getting attention, right? Like, if I was going to compete nowadays, that would be my goal. Like, obviously try to win, but you want to garner attention, because that's what helps you build your brand. That's what will lead to you getting more clients, more opportunities, is getting eyeballs on you. So if I was competing, I'd be on the stage in that damn jacket and something wild, like Luis was saying, with a Chucky mask on or something, because that's part of that. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
Let me touch on that, right? I was intentional. Savage Surge, I want you to comment what you think a cowboy is, and I'll answer your question. Everybody has a different definition of what that is. Like,
so this guy, cowboy or not?
Yeah. Somebody said no, he's a Casanova. So so like what you're looking at, right, is being intentional with your marketing. You're branding yourself. You're doing something to stand out, right? When I started at the shop full time, the first barbershop, the one in Mobile I mentioned earlier, I noticed that it had a certain attire, right? Moreno Valley locally over here is known as Murder Valley, right? It's kind of hood. You got gangs, all that stuff, right? And nobody in there, like, even if I love country music, everybody wants to be comfortable while they're cutting hair. So I did something different. I bought a pair of cowboy boots because I was already listening to country music and all that. I was already into all that. So I was like, let me buy a pair of cowboy boots and do something to stand out inside the shop. Everybody was either wearing slides, wearing Jordans, Air Force Ones, or just like running shoes to be comfortable, sweats, just kind of, my opinion, looking a little bit more lazy, right? Or comfortable. Let's call it comfortable to not offend some people, right? They were looking comfortable, which I have no problem with. To each their own. But when somebody walked in, what happened? So at the end of the day, people would literally look at me and be like, "Hey, bro, like I came to you because you're wearing cowboy boots." Out of all things, like not because I cut amazing hair, none of that. Like people walked in and they come into my chair because they're like, "Bro, I liked how you dress." I would wear just a t-shirt, a hat maybe because I was too lazy to do my hair because I'm a barber. I hate touching hair all day and then having to do my own hair right. People would come in and be like, "Bro, you're wearing jeans, you're wearing cowboy boots." Like I felt like you dressed up for the occasion, and if you take care of yourself, I'm gonna trust you're gonna take care of me. Also, being in the place that I was at, right? It's a little more hood. Like I stuck out like a sore thumb. People are like, "What's up with this guy?" Got a bunch of tattoos. He's wearing cowboy boots. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the bright jackets, even though that obviously puts you out there, or the bright shoes or the big shoes. Sometimes it's just the simple things. If you look at your environment and where you're at, you ask yourself, what can I be better at? Like people don't know this because I don't post a lot of haircuts because I'm focusing on the haircuts. I am every 30 minutes. It's hard to stay on time if you're not locked in.
No,
But I do a lot of
you don't post haircuts because you're trash at cutting hair and
that's what
you're
it is.
scared to
Actually,
post
right.
your haircuts. That's why,
I,
right?
I probably do suck at cutting hair. Nah, but look, I started doing shear work. The industry, just because you're a barber, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Just because you're a barber, it doesn't mean that you got to just stick to tapers and fades. Even though Andrew does hair, I don't know if you know who he is, Marv.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Andrew, I've known Andrew for years.
Well, check this out. I'm gonna tell you a really cool story. I want people to hear this too. It's super cool. Shout out to SG951. Morona Valley's not hood, Cuddy boy. I don't know who said that, bro. And we're going to talk about some experiences I had at the shop. I want to hear people relate to these things. But look, like, man, if I can tell you guys that when I did it, I started wearing boots, the industry, I realized there was one thing that was missing, and it was heavily missing, was shear work. A lot of barbers shear work sucks. They suck. They don't know how to do, they don't know how to cut. They don't know how to keep the hair straight on top. They don't know how to do flow backs. Mind you, Andrew does hair, said something, and we're following each other, and we're cool now. But he said something a while back before I became a barber. He said, if you don't want to do designs as a barber, don't market designs on your page. If you don't want to do long hair haircuts, don't post long hair haircuts on your page. I don't post them because I don't want to do them all the time. But when people come in, I bless them. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you know how to layer, you know how to section, you know how to shape up a longer hairstyle." I'm like, yeah, I just don't tell people because to me, I don't want to market that, right? So I feel like a lot of people miss out on that. They miss out on the fact that you have to be intentional how you market yourself. If you want to be seen as a cowboy, you want to carry a name like Cowboy Casanova, wear boots, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like it's extremely important to be intentional with how you market yourself and the client base, or if you're doing social media, the fan base that you want to acquire. So that being said, hey, Andrew does hair. All right. Really cool, Mar. This is just super cool off topic. I opened up my second shop in Corona, right? Corona, California, which is like 15 minutes from our first shop. And I'm starting it with like two, 3 guys. We're just cutting hair. And I don't know her, bro. Like I'm by the front door and I'm cutting, and crap you not, I see Andrew does hair walking from a distance with his daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, I stopped cutting and I looked outside and I'm like, Andrew, and he's like, hey, what's up? Super chill guy. He walks up and he's like, hey, like, what's up, man? We're chopping it up. I'm like, hey, bro, I've been following you way before I became a barber. Like 2015, I remember, like I was following him, learning how to do hair. He would like give tutorials, So I'm like, yeah, man, I've been following you like before I became a barber. Like this is my business. What's up, man? I never fangirl over people, but I did fangirl over Andrew, and I will give him that. Like he was like, hey, bro, like that's cool. We started chopping. He's like, yeah, I know you. And I was like, he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, I've been following your page for a minute. Sure enough, I followed him in my personal, but not my business page. And he followed my business page. He's like, yeah, I've been following what you've been doing. Like, I really like your aesthetic. I love what you talk about. Obviously, you come off a certain way, but you do that intentionally. Like, I get it. Super cool guy. So having that co-signer, that pat on the back, honestly, was super cool. But to make it even better, the business that I started, the location where I started my second location at, he used to work there. It used to be called, like, yeah. So it was like a full circle moment. He walked in through the whole place. He checked it out. He was like, keep going, bro. He's like, yeah, this is where I started my career, where I got famous on Instagram. It was cutting here in this location. So it was like a super cool full circle moment, man. I'm like, damn, like looking back now, like he recognizes who I am. I followed him for a minute. He used to work in that location. So super cool, you know.
Yeah,
So,
Andrew does hair. Me and him did a podcast years ago when I was doing just a straight audio podcast. Like it was called the Barbers podcast. That was one of the first things I started doing too. Like
that's awesome.
when I was building, and it was cool, man, because like he's very deep and he's very wise, and like the conversation was cool because we bring two totally different energies and ways of explaining things to the conversation. So it was a cool experience. I might have to hit him up and see, we might have to do like round 2 at some point, because
He's Tennessee right now. You know that, right? He moved out to Tennessee.
no, I didn't. I haven't followed like his stuff like that in a while. It's just funny how the algorithm works, right? It shows you certain people and then it like takes them out. It's like, so you saying Andrew does hair. I haven't seen him in my algorithm in a minute, but I have to like a few things, get him back in there. But he's awesome, man. He's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, I wanted to ask you, Marv, this is random note. I want to know something authentic. Okay. What's the craziest thing that happened to either you or someone you know inside of the shop or you witnessed? As a barber, I feel like a lot of things happen inside, and I'm not talking about talking crap. I'm talking about like a crazy experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times, like at one time, one of my barbers was like beefing with one of my boys, right? And they were like boys too. It's just some girl. You know how it's always over a girl, right? Yeah. So crap started getting talked to each other over the girl. And then my one homie said, basically like, stop running your mouth, bro, because when I see you, I'm gonna slap you. And he's like, you ain't gonna do nothing, bro. And he's like, I'm gonna come down to the shop and slap you tomorrow. And so the barber that was working with me, he told me that was gonna happen. I'm like, he's not. I mean, I don't think he's gonna do that, but he might slap you when he sees you, whatever. He ain't gonna do nothing. And he walked in the door, bro, and looked at him and said, "What did I tell you I was gonna do when I seen you?" And he's like, "No, don't even." And he just
damn.
Slapped him. I'm like, oh, now I have to break this up, and
damn,
this whole weird thing. Then there was another time where like a little squabble happened out in front of the shop too. Is one dude got slapped in his face like 3 times on a Friday. I had to like drag him in, like, bro, stop going out there. You keep getting slapped. Just
he said, slapped.
Yeah, he got slapped. I went out, carried him in.
Like, I'm trying to save you.
He's like, nah, get off me, get off me. When I got slapped again, I'm like, bro, like, so a couple of those instances.
Bro,
there's been some wild stuff, some stuff that I'm not even gonna say on here, but like, there's been a couple of things, especially more so like back when I first started. When I first started in the barbering world, like I can talk a lot of the shit that I talk to y'all because I used to do some of the dumb stuff, bro. Like I did a lot of the dumb stuff early on when I didn't like know no better, and I thought some things were gonna be good for business. I ain't know nothing about like business. I thought they were just okay to do. So I did some of the dumb stuff. I personally haven't done nothing too crazy. I'm not slapping people in a shop like that. I mean, just people don't come at me with that type of energy, so I never had to, right? But there were some things that we used to let slide in the shop that when you look back at now, you're like, bro, you can't be doing that. But again, that's why it went back when haircuts were $12-15, and that's what you were getting. When as we upped our service, upped our professionalism, upped everything about what we were doing, we started getting paid more. Clientele started weeding itself out. We raised our standards, stopped accepting certain things, and you build from there. But that's some of the crazy stuff. What happened with you? What's something crazy that happened in your shop?
Man, bro, I wanted to speak on that because Moreno Valley is hood. I know the guy's saying it's the burbs, but there are sections that are nicer than others, 100%, like any other city. But I remember I was sitting there, man, and one of the guys passed away. He this guy came in, and there was like 2 like opposing gang rivals getting a haircut at the same time. Like one was, and they were both for like 2. They had appointments back to back with the same barber. So the barber knew that. He forgot to reschedule, try to move it around. Well, some guy gets in the chair, he's getting a haircut, and 3 dudes come in and they're waiting because they're next up with the guy. And like all of a sudden things got tense inside the shop. These dudes came in strapped up and they had guns in their hoodie. Man, that guy came out. And I'm street smart. I come from a certain background, so I understand some things. And I looked at the guy when they went out and they were applying, and the guy was like low-key getting nervous because he was by himself getting the cut. I was like, hey, bro, you need to leave. Like, go through the back. And he left with his cape on. His lady picked him up. And then, homeboy cut these dudes up. They left. because, he shouldn't have been there. I was just like, man, I don't want that shootout to happen. And he finally came back. But just to explain that, Mobile is pretty hood. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say is like like we used to get into it. There's a lot of crap talking, and like I would never do this now. I'm a business owner. I'm a little older now. I'm 32 literally as of last Thursday. So I'm a little older. I would never do this anymore. But when I was in my mid-20s, I was a little more how would I put this? A little more of a hothead. So we go back and forth, and sometimes people would use the B word a lot, like, oh bitch, this and that. And like, bro, there's certain things you just don't call people, and especially a grown man.
Yeah.
So I would call people out. Let's take it to the back and run it. You know what I mean? I got videos and everything, bro. Like throwing hands with clients. Bro, yeah. Throwing clients. I
can't wait till I'm scrolling on social media and I see some burnouts.
I hope not, bro. I hope not.
Like I went from this to this, some transitional stuff.
Hi, Ramiro. Hi, son. But I had a situation where I would put the gloves on, obviously, because you're not really trying to hurt people like that for real.
Yeah.
But man, I would bust people's noses like open, like things would happen. And I'm lucky to say I haven't lost a fight then, at the barbershop. But at a certain point, the owner of the shop was like letting it slide. And he's like, hey, bro, you got to stop. Like clients were coming in. It got to a point where clients were coming in and they're coming in with gloves on, like, hey, bro, like, let's run it for no reason. I knew nobody, and I was like, all right,
fade, just a friendly fade.
That's it. And I was like, bro, we can't be doing this shit. Like, I'm really actually trying to cut hair. Like, I did this because people were like, bro, I want to throw hands with you. And I'd be like, I ain't going to turn down a fade,
Yeah. Yeah. It is funny how how many times there could be almost like a potential like bad thing that occurs because two people that have beef, just miss each other at the shop.
Bro,
fortunately in most instances, like people, they'll not go that far at the shop. Like they respect the shop. Like the shop has a certain like respect.
It's like a neutral zone. It's like a neutral zone.
It's like a neutral zone. But I remember one time I was talking to one of my clients and we were talking about something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it ended up leading me to asking him, is there anybody you have beef with that I cut? And he's just like, yeah. And I'm like, who? He's like, I don't want to tell you. I'm like, who, bro? And he's like, nah, I don't want to tell you because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but bro, like, I need to know this because I need to make sure, like, ain't nothing gonna happen. Like, is it real beef? Like, yeah, if we see each other, it's on site. I'm like, then I definitely need to know because I need to make sure.
He starts throwing hands when he's in the chair. Hell,
yeah, I cut both of y'all, and like, So then he ended up telling me who it is, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know y'all was beefing like that. But then it like gave me that perspective too to like figure out ways. I don't do it all the time, but sometimes it's just like, you beef with anybody I cut with, just so that we don't schedule it. We try not to schedule because there's been times too in the past. I'm sure, like your story, and I'm sure there's probably countless more where I've had somebody sitting in my chair and somebody sitting in another barber's chair, and then the one person leaves, and then my client says, "Yeah, I don't like him," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, wow, I didn't even know that this could have potentially been a moment if both of y'all were more confrontational or just didn't respect the shop. So I've been fortunate that not too many of those instances that have happened, but we did have some slaps.
Some slaps. Well, can I ask you something? Has anybody ever died at the shop?
Not at my shop, but I remember you posting a piece of content talking about something like that. So bro, share that.
That right there to me was my craziest experience by far. I think the thing he was doing like an opiate, you know what I mean? He was on a downer and he comes in and he was just kind of like slumped, kind of smiling for no reason while he was waiting. He had an appointment with me, right? So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, mind you, the barber that used to work with me there, he's a witness to this. He can call me out, call me a liar. It was just me and him at the shop at the time. And he works for my shop in Corona now. We've been friends for a very long time. And I was sitting there and I'm like, this guy was just slumped over, kind of smiling and just kind of minding, like just nodded out, And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy or whatever. Sits in the chair. I'm cutting his hair up. I'm like, hey, bro, put your chin up. Like, put it back so I can get under your chin. So I'm like in there trying to do it. And then he just kind of sits there and he's like, just falls back, eyes roll back. And I'm like, the hell, did he just like pass out? Right? I'm like super tripped out. I'm thinking he's passed out. And I'm like, hey, bro, shake him up. He's just shaking around. He starts going pale. And I'm like, what's going on? So then I check his pulse and my guy's just nothing, no pulse. I'm checking his breathing. I'm like shaking him up. And I look over, my buddy's super casual and then goes back to cutting hair. He goes, in Spanish, he goes, Motherfucker died.
Mm.
And now he went back to cutting hair, and I'm like, you see this before? Like, what's up with that, bro?
Right, like it's just an everyday thing. Like,
hey, and I thought he was like lying to me, but you know what, man? Like, I got boxing experience, right? So I got a mean right hook. So what do, bro? I slapped him hard, nothing, and I mean hard.
Yeah.
Then I give him a second one, harder, nothing. I was like, man, fuck, I'm gonna give him a haymaker. Like, I didn't know what else to do. I was reacting out of like,
just trying something,
bro, something. So I finally just went, just smacked him hard as hell. I swear he almost fell out the chair. About 3 seconds later after that smack, boom, he's like, he came back to life, and I was like, what the hell? I check around, call some people. They're like, yeah, he overdosed. To me, an overdose is always like someone spazzing out, or it depends what kind of drug. You know, if you do something that's like a downer, you do too much of it, then you end up your heart just stops. So I slapped him back to life. I guess I shocked him, like his brain. We gave him a Coke, started sweating. You know, he was like back to life, and I was like super freaked out. I was, hey, bro, haircuts on me. Never come back to me again. Don't ever come back to the shop.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, in my area, the opiate stuff is horrible too, right? So, you know, I've lost a lot of people I went to school with because of that. So it got bad in the city that I grew up in. But, you know, I haven't had nothing like that happen. But there was one time where this dude was in our shop, and he was sitting in a chair getting cut, and he started just sweating profusely and started doing like all of this weird stuff. And it was just like weird. And then he just like jumped up mid cut and was like, dude, I'm about to pass out. I'm about to die. And we're like, you good, bro? He's like, no, I'm not good. I gotta get out of here. So he just like ripped the cape off. Half a haircut wasn't done, dripping sweat, just leaves, walks out, goes and sits in his car. So we're just like looking at him, watching him, you know, sit in his car, and he's just like eyes closed, open, like he's still like alive and stuff. And we're just like, damn, what is that about? And then, you know, obviously our initial thoughts are like just drugs or something. He's got to be like, something. Yeah. Long story short, come to find out, the dude had brain cancer. So like he was having some crazy episode because of that, bro.
Like a reaction to having cancer.
So you know, we all felt bad. I felt horrible. I'm like, man, I'm
just immediately like he's on drugs or something.
Yeah. And you know, he ended up coming to us for like another, not much longer after that. He kept coming back, and then he eventually passed away. But
that's crazy.
You know, yeah, that was a weird moment. But yeah, the barbershop, we get a lot of stories that we get to take with us and share with each other. Interesting stuff happens.
Well, if I can ask your perspective on this, Marv, like considering there's so much crazy crap that happens in the shop, I think that, you know, what's not talked about enough is that we're technically like free therapists. Like, what's your take on that, bro? Like outside of, you know, making money, having followers, like put that aside for a minute, right? Like if behind the chair as a barber, I feel too many people overlook us being free therapists for the clients that sit in our chair. Like, what's your take on that, bro?
It's like a few different ways to look at that. It's clearly we're in a position where people will dump some real stuff on us, and we got to do our best to talk them through it and, you know, be there in ways that, you know, like we're cutting hair, but we're there for them to help them in all these different aspects, right? And we can wear a lot of what they're going through with us. It can be heavy. So, you know, so I do understand the whole perspective of we can kind of be like therapists, but at the same time, I think us trying to claim that title could be disrespectful to actual therapists. Just because most of us don't have the training. It's almost like, you know, somebody that could cut hair from time to time is claiming they're a master barber almost. You know what I mean? Like, I think us, and maybe that's not the best comparison, but I think, you know, it can be discrediting to actual therapists for us to assume that we are therapists, but at the same time, we are in a position where we can kind of be like therapists. So I think with all of that being said, that, and this is why it's something that I try my best to do too, is like, I try to learn like how to communicate better, how to help people, you know, all of these aspects that, you know, when people are just watching haircut tutorials or trying to learn how to grow on social media, I'm trying to learn different ways of communicating better and just, you know, these deeper things. Yeah. Understanding why people do what they do, the psychology of stuff. And, you know, so that way I can be more of a better like therapist, you know? So it's mixed feelings about it. Like, I understand it, but again, like I said, also I think it can be very disrespectful to actual therapists.
That went to school
Like
and
some
like
of the
really
game
learned
we're
everything.
given or advice we're given and trying to help them through stuff, it's like sometimes we could be doing more harm than good and not even realize it. You know, it's well intended, but we just, you know, we don't necessarily know what we're doing, and it can be more harm than good. What do you think about it?
Well, I want to expand on that a bit, bro, because I want to ask you, like, I did want to ask you, like, how do you feel, right, when someone comes into your chair and they hear that, the old girl left them, you know what I mean, or they sit there and they tell you, like, hey, I got cancer, like, I think sometimes it's not about giving advice.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the times it's about being a good listener, and I feel like a lot of people, especially down like now, bro, like the industry's changed a lot. Like Marv, like people call me Unc and they joke around, right? Because I'm a little older. But the one thing that I will say, I'm
you're
thankful
Unc
for,
now, just like I am. We're Unc, bro.
yeah, and it's cool, and it's cool. And let me tell you though, the one thing that these people are missing, bro, is that we grew up in a generation without social media. As kids, we were forced to go outside. We were forced to have hard conversations. I mean, bro, you threw hands with the neighbor's kid, it forced you to like toughen up. Where now nobody gets together. Like us playing video games with our friends was going over to their house and like killing each other on Call of Duty on PlayStation 2. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it is nowadays where everybody is like way more antisocial. You sit in a 20-year-old barber's chair. Like I see it in some of my barbers, and thankfully some of them kind of changed that, because I try to talk to them about that. Like, hey, people are coming to you to be talked to. A lot of the times it isn't about or to at least get something off their chest. Like they're paying you for your time. And a lot of the times it isn't the haircut, it's that you're a good listener. It's the complete experience, like I talked about. You get to a place where you forget that being a barber is more than just a haircut, and putting that AirPod in, right? It's super big nowadays in the industry. People want to just listen to whatever they want to listen to, and they want to just cut hair and not even talk to their client, but you're robbing the client of a better experience that they might value, and they might leave you as a barber because the other person just actually talked to them. I think too many of these young cats now in the industry, right? Because this was about the state of the industry and where it's at, right? Like, are forgetting that the clients are paying you. They're your boss. They're paying you for your time and your service that you're giving them, right? So don't cheap out on the clients, guys. Take that AirPod out, make connections. You never know who's going to be in your chair. Network with them, and be able to like listen to them. Like Marv said, be careful, because at the end of the day, like, you can give advice that might be hurting more than helping. We're not trained professionals. And I do agree with you, Marv. I do think it is disrespectful to be like, yeah, we're unpaid therapists. That idea, I think it's generally true, but I think we need to be unpaid listeners. So I think that's something to really pay attention to. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
If you don't mind, I want to answer Savage Surge, and I want to get your feedback on this, Marv. I got Canelo, not because I'm Mexican or anything. You know what I mean? But Canelo's just 2 weight classes above him already. He's already done horrible at 154. Like, he hasn't not looked good at 154, where he was killing people at 147 and 140. So I got Canelo
beating him. Canelo beating him.
Yeah,
I like Crawford, but he not at that. Nah, he not beating Canelo.
Yeah, 100%.
Love it.
Ricardo, what the heck, bro? As you said, have you guys ever give a happy ending? That's what the barber game is missing. Look, guys, I know it's a joke, but I did see somebody. I had a situation where somebody got their back shaved. And I never again, bro. Not me personally, but I know somebody that did it. And
What, got their back shaved?
Bro, he got capped off for like a week at the shop. Yeah, like after hours, some dude was like, "Hey, can you shave my back?" He had a hairy back, and
bro, that happened in my shop. We had a client that like he would come in and he's funny, just a troll. Like, he had fun with us, but he's like, "Will you shave my back?" And we're all just laughing at it. But there was one barber that said, "Yeah, I got you."
How much? How much?
I think he threw him like $40 for it. Something's great. Yeah, bro. It took him like 2-3 minutes to do a straight up
extra bucks
skeleton FX just
going down.
Yeah,
down, yeah.
Question for you, bro. Like, cause talking about being unk and getting a little older and stuff. How do you try to find like a balance of not being that old head that doesn't accept anything new? And like, how do you balance it? Because like, when I hear you say the AirPod thing, right? Like, while I agree with that pretty much 100%, right?
Yeah.
There is that younger generation that's just how they are. Like there may be the young barber with the AirPod in cutting the young person with the AirPod in. You know what I mean? And it's like for them, that's totally normal. It's something maybe that will connect them and make that person keep coming back, right?
Yeah,
And so
I see what you're saying.
it's how do you because it can be a struggle, right? It's a struggle that anybody faces as we get older. Is like things that we know work. Sometimes they get pushed to the back burner, or even sometimes things that we know work just aren't even relevant anymore. And it's kind of like now we're just old heads trying to continue doing things the ways that they always been done.
Okay.
So how do you know like how to balance it, especially when it comes to like your shop? Is that something you ever really think about, or you just mainly focus on what you feel like is best for the business and then just executing that?
So there's two ways to look at it. You can't be so stuck in your ways where you're not like capable of learning or bending, right? Like the analogy, right, is like be like water, right? You talk about the Bruce Lee thing. You have to adapt to your environment, right? The water goes in the cup, becomes a cup, et cetera, et cetera. The idea is the same way, man. Like the AirPod thing. That's a recent thing, right? Headphones have been around, for about 20 to 30 years, maybe longer than that. If I'm being honest, probably 40 years now that I'm like, I am getting older. So yeah, like 40 years, I think. And then now it's like the Bluetooth thing has come into play these past 10 years. Like, Marv, I'm going to tell you this. For thousands of years, we've had conversations like human beings. Why would that not work for another 1,000 years?
Yeah.
I'm saying that AirPods and having that and that allowing someone to connect, that could be real. But that kid that you're ignoring that you could connect with might be going through something that they want to talk to you about. Your age, your generation makes you relatable.
Yeah.
And my age, me being older, gives me the wisdom to actually tell them I've been generally through something similar. Like I'm not black and white about anything, but I do overthink everything, right? And I will say that like I made my mind up with the idea that like Lil Wayne, right? He's a rapper. He talks about how he stayed relevant for so long.
Yeah.
A lot of rappers stay in a certain lane and they make music for what's popping, right? The kind of sound that's popping at the moment, and they never adapt to the times.
Yeah.
New generations are going to bring new sounds, and like Drake, right, did it best as far as business goes. I think Drake did his best. He's a better businessman, right, than I think any rapper. I don't think he's a great rapper. I think he's a better businessman because as he's coming up, he knows that he has a household name, and he knows if he attached, right, the newest artist coming into the game to his name, it would solidify them or co-sign them into the industry. And he knew that, but he also knew that this guy was an up-and-coming rapper, and he does that with everybody. As you can see through like from The Weeknd, from like 13 years ago, and as so on and so forth. With Little Baby, he collabed with a lot of these songs as they were coming up. And, 21 Savage is one of them, and he still rocks with them heavy. So you start looking at all the connections that he made. Who's a rapper that just got arrested, man? I forgot. He's from Chicago. Man.
I don't pay enough attention, so
I'm sorry. No, yeah, I'm actually like a hip hop, but bro, like, bro, the point is, as a businessman, though, right? He gets to a place where, you do something to stay relevant. You have to get with the industry. Like for me, I'm realizing that the industry is turning from commission to booth rental. Why? A lot of people are informing themselves. Like there was a guy talked about elaborate on the percentage of booth rental option for barbers. A lot of people want to be independent. You see it everywhere. People don't want to work at McDonald's and make minimum money anymore. People want to bet on themselves. People would rather be a social media influencer than, go work for Amazon. Like you're starting to see a shift in the whole culture. I think paying attention to the economy, the culture, and where people are headed, people have to bet on themselves because companies aren't paying enough. So you start realizing like you have to shift with the culture, with the generations that are coming out. It's like, be encouraging to, hey, do you be happy? But the one thing, and I'm going to say two things that don't change, is that conversations I've been around with one another, right? Just talking about a specific thing, and everybody wants to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
How you do that, how you encourage that, it's not going to change, right? As long as you're supplying a good experience, good customer service, and some quality behind the chair, you're always going to be busy. Yeah. How you do that, that's completely up to you, whether you throw enhancements on it or not, right? Because I've talked about that too.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah. But like
what I will say too is like I think the principle also is just do your best to serve the person in your chair. I think that's where paying attention to what they value about the experience and figuring out how to provide that for them ultimately will lead to you being successful. In other words, like, I have clients that sit in my chair and we'll debate and argue all day. Then we'll have clients that sit in my chair. We'll talk about some conspiracy theories all day. Then we'll have, clients that sit in my chair and we don't talk at all. And then, I have the young kids, right? A lot of the young kids, I'll talk to them, work to engage them, but there's a lot of them that want to sit on FaceTime with their friends. I'll have 4 people on FaceTime when they're sitting in my chair, or they're snapping their friend the whole time they're in the chair. So I let them, do that. So it's just, I think the principle in it all is, it just goes back to the timeless principle of just, fulfilling your customers' needs, like finding out what it is they value and doing your best to give them that. But I think there can be this divide, and and barbers can end up struggling because they don't want to hear what the old head has to say. But then, like, but then the old head can't adapt to the new generation. So there's like this disconnect. So that's why I'm always trying to do my best to, not get too lost and try to find some sort of balance.
Well, I was going to tell you, what do you think? I feel like being a barber keeps you young. Like, it's sad. Like, I catch myself, I haven't said I'm going to crash out on somebody, but that's like something new that these younger dudes are saying. And I'm like, I catch myself saying a lot of these phrases because the community is there. They keep you young, like we are in the beauty industry. So we have like this, like, I think subconscious idea that we have to stay looking good because we're in the industry, we're making people look good. We got to stay looking good. Right. So how do you feel about that? Do you think it keeps you young to be in the industry as well?
100%. It definitely keeps you young. Me though, I'm also just more intentional of just trying to connect with the younger generation. So I'll say crash out, or that was tough, or Riz, or whatever these little terms they're using. Like, I'm that old head that people are going to look at and be like, bro, you're too old to be saying that. Or maybe sometimes the old head may look in this like that's not really professional, but I try to understand that, like, it's all about building rapport for me and being able to connect with people. So if I got one of these kids in the chair and I'm speaking in their language and I'm talking about Sigma or whatever the new word is, like, they'll laugh. They might look at me like it's funny and stuff, but there's a part of them that loves that, and I get a lot of the young kids coming in my shop because of TikTok, because of YouTube shorts. So many of them are on there. So they'll come in, just say what up and, show love. They might be in there with their parents and they're like, yo, I know you from TikTok. And, I'll be like, that's tough. That's tough or something. They're like, what'd you say? So I try to be intentional, try to stay up on things. I don't want to be the old head that just thinks everything that our generations did was better, that everything that's coming up is corny and is not good. I don't want to get lost in that. I know not everything is good. There's some bad stuff. There's some, but these younger generations got to figure it out. And I just want to try my best to help them figure it out. And I think the way that we help them figure it out is by trying to, connect with them, meet them where they are, and then try to guide them where we need to guide them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And well, I think this I'll tell you this. If you see me on social media, being intentional, saying things that offend people, right? Creating monikers like do better. Like, where do you look? If you guys look at the screen, guys, what do you guys see right there? That's called branding. He's been doing that for years. If you hear Barbers anywhere, you're going to think about Marvy Marv. He planted that seed. Over time, it evolved. That's good marketing. That's called being intentional. Me saying do better, y'all. Like, that's me being me. Right? Like, that's my branding. When people say do better, they follow me or they've heard of me, they're going to be like, oh, that's that cowboy guy, whatever. That's called branding, right? Like, for me, I think being, like somebody said, you got to evolve, right? 100%. Lee's world. I agree with that. When you're in a position where you're evolving, right, it means that you're not shutting down social media, or you're not saying, oh, I'm not going to get in front of a camera and be like one of those influencers. It's like, nah, bro, it's helped my business. It's helped fill my chairs. People agree with what I say. And I want to get people that have that like-minded like mentality where they're like, yeah, like I agree with what you say. So they want to come work for my shop. You know what I mean? Or clients. I've had a bad experience where, the guy took a smoke break and like he smelled like weed and I had kids there. And now I got 3 new clients because of my opinion. Like, you guys have to sit there and talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's another one. Like, yeah, guys, like, you guys have to understand when you get to a place where you're putting your opinion out there, you're doing, the balance of being the wise old head, but you're also like, how do you say, like you're putting yourself out there enough on social media. And I'm not doing dances, right? I never will. but I ain't putting
I
my
want to see
opinion out.
you do a dance or two,
Hey,
bro.
we're gonna have to collab on
Cowboy hat on.
We'll go to New York and collab on one, dog.
Yeah, right.
But now what's going on is that you get in front of the camera and you're learning how to edit. You're learning how to evolve. You're learning how to do things to actually market yourself better and help your business. I think when people are stuck in the past, their business might still grow, but it'll suffer. The same thing that you could have done in 10 years, you can do it in 2 years. Like even Marv's like, oh, I hope you don't build too quickly. I hope you're build. Like, I'm not. I have a system. I have managers, and we have monthly manager meetings, bro. Like I have really good people. My turnaround rate with my barbers is very little. I've had to fire people. Maybe one person quit. But in the past 2.5 years, almost 3 years now in May, I've had probably like to fire 2 or 3 people and one person quit. And I'm like 26 barbers in, and I have 3 people lined up. Like, guys, that doesn't happen by accident. It's because of good marketing that I'm able to do this. But I've had to suffer like financial consequences, like bootstrapping, and everything that I'm making, I'm putting it back into the business. I'm really ramping up the marketing. I'm keeping up with everything. I'm learning, to keep up with the growth, the growing pains. So understand that for me, you got to evolve. As business evolves, you have to evolve. And I think having that balance to continue to like relate to the younger crowd is important. I think you do get to an age though where you are unc, right? And you're like, okay, like I got to come from an uncle perspective. I got to be the old head giving wisdom. And that's how you relate. Like, hey, youngster, I've been there before. Just the same way old heads used to do that back in the day when they used to cut our hair at the barbershops, so.
Barbers. So let me ask you something. Can you see how long we've been live? Do you have a timer on your end?
Or them?
Can you see it? You?
Yeah, I can see it. It's been an hour 40, just flew by.
Yeah. See what I tried to tell you, bro?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, yeah,
it flies by, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is how much longer do you have?
I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm locked in. Yeah.
Because what I'm going to say is right now, like as far as tuning in live, like we've been at a consistent, number of people tuning in live. And for like the last 5 minutes, the number is higher than it's been. So these people, you guys enjoying the conversation or what? Let us know in the chat if you're enjoying the conversation.
Ask your questions, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Damien, Corona. What's the name of my shop? The Ranch Barber Company. I have it on my back, guys. I promote everywhere I go. It's the Ranch Barber Company. I have 3 locations. I have 2 in Riverside, 1 in the inner city, 1 up the hill, like in the ranchy area, the nicer area, Riverside, and then can go 12 rounds. Yeah, but not that's comedy. But yeah, and the one in Corona is Ranch Barber Company. It's all the same. Started it on my own, man. I had support from family members. Shout out to my brother. He built them with his bare hands. I helped out on the first 2. And I was completely uninvolved on the third. I trusted him to build it. So that was pretty cool, just having like my mom and my brother and people really do everything hands-on. So
question, bro. So
really,
people, hopefully they start asking some questions. With like the title of the conversation, right? With the barbering is booming. Barber industry is booming. We're getting so many people coming in. It's barbers are really cool. Like we've been cool, but because of social media now, the world's seeing how cool we are, right? A lot of barbers are corny too, but barbering in itself is just cool, right? But with barbering booming the way it is, why do you feel so many barbers are struggling?
Man, I've seen it happen inside my shop. I've seen people thrive and I've seen people struggle. So I have a real first world experience. It's lack of discipline, right? Lack of accountability, which is just like a show of your character, but lack of discipline. I feel like some people start making a little bit of money and they start going out and partying, they gamble, they start going out clubbing, you know what I mean? And then they come on Saturday. I think people don't think that like people don't recognize that barbers, their busiest days are Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sundays because a lot of places are closed. So people are naturally going to gravitate towards you. Saturdays because people are trying to go get a haircut before they go out. Same thing with Fridays. But as a barber, you can't go out on a Friday. So I think adapting to the reality of the schedule matters a lot. Number one, lack of discipline, 100%. I've seen people that have been showing up to the shops consistently. And honestly, like I realized that a year later, those people that didn't show up to the shop weren't there 5-6 days a week doing after-hour haircuts when people would come in, hey, can you still take me? I'm like, that'll make a client for life. People are like, man, I remember when you still took me, right? Whatever. As long as they don't do it again, or you tell them, like, hey, I'm only doing this one time, right? But I feel it's mainly because they don't show up. Lack of discipline and consistency. and their inability to once again evolve and get better. You can be big on social media, and when people sit in your chair, Marvin, you know this, bro. Like when people sit in your chair, what are you doing to keep them? That's called retention in business, right? So I feel like when people's haircuts suck and they're not willing to get better at their craft, they have a lack of discipline, and they're not consistent with their hours or showing up. I think those three things matter the most. You being at the shop matters. I learned how to play guitar because I would sit outside of the shop for 2-3 hours until my fingers were calloused or throbbing. And I would just, suck. I would practice chords, whatever, because I had nothing to do. It was a dead ass day. And then clients would come in. I'd be the first thing they seen. And I'd be like, hey, bro, you walk in or appointment. Oh, I'm walking in. Oh, I got you, bro. And I would cut the hair. And then as soon as I was done, I'd sweep up my station, go back outside. But I was there every single day. I think the first year I was doing 7 days a week, guys. If you're asking me, if you're struggling, ask yourself, am I in a good shop? Mainly ask yourself, are Saturdays busy? Because the week is always going to be hit and miss. Are Saturdays always busy there? If the answer is yes, it's a good shop, more than good enough. Are you marketing yourself enough? If you're doing that, great. If not, then you got to change that. Now, are you showing up? Even when you're hungover, even when you're tired and you didn't sleep, are you still showing up? People forget that you being behind the chair means you're still your own business. And that's the problem. People want to be independent until it takes them being independent. People don't want to complain about booth rent, but then they don't want to put in the work to make booth rent feel like it's nothing. Like it's half a Saturday. Here you go, bro. Like it takes time. You have to show up. You have to be consistent. I've seen people make a change in the shop and all of a sudden they're booming, bro. Like weekends are booked up. They're killing it. And I'm like, damn, that's all it took. It's just showing up. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? I think lack of discipline and consistency and not enough marketing. I think if people recognize that they're a brand and a business behind the chair, they would get better or get busier a lot quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you feel about the pricing in the industry?
Damn, that's a good question. Well, two things. Ricardo did ask twice. I want to answer that question. $75 general admission for barber battles, right? That goes hand in hand with pricing, right, in the industry. Like, I think, just to answer your question quickly, Ricardo, SG951, like, general admission for $75 is crazy. It is. But you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? When you start making real money, you don't go say, okay, I'm going to go spend, $1,000 to sit on the bench seats to go watch Taylor Swift. But someone else thinks it's worth it. For you, it might be crazy. That means, who's it worth it? One day, if you're a rapper, if you're a barber and you're throwing a show, if you feel like you're providing real value and you feel like people are going to pay a price that you think is worth it, people are going to pay it. There's a reason people drive Lamborghinis when they make millions of dollars. With those social millionaires that I know that don't own a Lamborghini, they drive a basic car because they don't think it's worth it. They can afford it, but they don't think this is worth it. Some people, it does something for them. It makes them happy. You got to respect that. I think at the end of the day, like general admission for something like barber battles at $75, it's crazy to me. To me, it's not worth it. I really get nothing from cutting hair all day, being around a barbershop all day, running barbershops, and then spending my off time going to something barber related. At a certain point, I'm like, I need a freaking break, So for me, it's not worth it to spend any single penny going. If I'm getting paid to go, if I'm getting paid to educate, or maybe I go to an expo to kind of like help my brand and actually meet people and network, then it has to be worth it for me. So it's not about what it costs. It's about if it's worth it. Same thing with the industry, Marv. I think $100 a haircut is kind of crazy. It really is. Hair grows back. I don't care if you spray paint, whatever. If you're just doing a basic haircut, something like $100, I would never. I would never pay for that. I would never charge that. Now, I've seen people charge $100, but they're laying them down. They got a steamer on them to give them a facial massage. They're not paying $100 for the haircut. They're paying $100 for the service. I think that makes sense. Now, where the industry is in terms of like prices, I think it's different, right? Because people want to complain about our prices now. And I think the average haircut in America, at least in bigger cities, could range anywhere between $30 to $40 starting point. Like, truth is, guys, a house has doubled in 5 years. Right? I remember charging $25 in 2020. I'm charging double what I used to charge 5 years later. A house has doubled that. My shops are at $35 a haircut starting because we're $5 under the market locally. The market right here in my area, at least, is $40 a haircut starting. That's a scary thing, guys. You guys have to remember, like in California, I don't know how it is over in New York, Mar, but in California, somebody flipping patties at McDonald's, not knocking them, but it's basic work. It's not skilled. It's not a skilled trade. Some people might argue, right? It takes skill flipping a patty, but you guys have to remember this is like an entry level job. If you work at McDonald's as a high school kid, you're getting paid $20 an hour. Like that's crazy. And people are telling me, hey, charge 25 a cut. That's fair. And I'm like, I went to school. I learned how to not infect your head. Like, I learned proper hygiene. I learned how to give a great haircut in a respectable amount of time. Like I put in the work to learn the skill to get traded, for people to pay me a good price for my time. Now, guys, two things to pay attention to when you're looking at pricing. The market. What is the market going for? If that's what the market is, that's what the market is. I agree with you. I don't mind charging less. I don't mind making less money, and I would do it. But guess what? Go tell the government, go tell the housing crisis to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. I made an argument a year ago about McDoubles and all that crap. You can't even get the 2 McDoubles for $3.99 anymore. They changed that recently. You have to buy a double cheeseburger for $4, and then you get an extra one for $1. Like, even the value menu doesn't even feel like a real value. Like, you just have to understand the state that we're in this economy. Like, when people argue, you guys charge too much, and be like, have you called around? Or ask yourself, what kind of service am I providing to make sure that price makes sense? Because there's still hole in the wall shops that are charging $15, $20, but they're going to be some chop cuts and they might be missing an ear. You know what I mean? So if you ask me, I think our prices have gone hand in hand with the economy. And I think it also, like, if you're charging more, if you get to $100 a cut, like, you got to get to a place where your demand makes sense. Like, I wait till my schedule gets booked up and people start complaining. Listen to your customers. Bro, I can't buck with you. You're too booked up. When you start hearing that too often, go up on prices. Go from 45 to $50. Go from 40 to 45. I do $5 increments because you want to lose some clients. You want to lose some of the ones that don't want to pay good money, but then you want to make more money, so you have to, like, have a balance. You don't want to go up 10, $20 and lose half of your clientele. So, guys, in business, it's supply and demand when it comes to pricing, but everything else around us is getting more expensive. Why shouldn't we charge more?
Yeah. And Barbers, because you just snapped. What I'll add to it too is like, kind of what you ended it with it's supply and demand and perceived value at the end of the day, guys. You can charge whatever the hell you want if there's people that are going to be willing to pay it, right? So if your demand is there, like Luis is just saying, like, people are trying to get in with you and they can't and all of that, that's a clear sign. Go up on your prices, right? Yeah. Or if you are phenomenal at marketing, like, how to acquire clients. Like, if you know how to acquire clients, you can charge whatever the hell you want, right? That's one of the things that, Deluxe, when he does his mentorship type thing, they don't really care about client retention. Their whole game plan is like getting new clients at these new price points, right? Which, it's a different model than most of us do. Yeah. And I could see it. And you know what I'm saying? I'm more in, like, I don't know. I just look at it different, but I understand the premise of it. It's like, as long as you know how to create content and market yourself and get new people in, you can charge whatever the hell you want. Right. Mm. But, ultimately it's going to be on you to be better in a lot of different ways. Like, you're going to have to be better at cutting hair if you want to charge higher prices. You're going to have to provide a better overall experience. You're going to have to be better at marketing. Content is the hack. Like, if you can get really good at content, it is a hack, bro.
It'll bring people in. Yeah.
It will not only will it bring people in, it will also add value to the experience, right? Like, these younger kids that come to see me, it's like, it's Marvy Marv from TikTok. That's value, right? Yeah. That they can't just get in the chair next to me or a chair in the shop down the street, right? When I was visiting Nito that does the braids, they're driving 4 or 5 hours to come see him, right? Because it's Nito and they're going to do a cool video. That's value. The barber in my shop right now, that he does phenomenal beard sculpts. He's like amazing. And he's gotten really good with his content. People drive hours every week to see him and they pay him high prices because, the content is that's a perceived value, right? They see value in it. So it is the hack. If you want to get to higher price points, if you can get really good at content, it could accelerate the process, but if aside from that, it's just going to be more so on your demand, bro. As your demand goes up, you'll provide yourself an opportunity to raise your prices without losing too much to where it like destroys, you know, your business. And I would say to you guys, be patient, man. Like, be impatient to implement things you learn, and be impatient to like go after the things you want, but also understand that the day you plant the seed isn't the day you eat the fruit, right? Like, you plant the seed, you gotta water it, and you know, you're constantly trying to it takes time, guys. So, you know, work to be better in all these different ways. At the end of the day, the amount of money you're going to be able to make is going to be a direct reflection of your skill set in so many different ways. And when I say skill set, I don't just mean hair cutting. It's your hair cutting, your communication, your marketing, your sales, your business, right? Your networking, all of these different skill sets. As you work to get better at those, everything else is going to increase. So don't focus so much on the price of things, right? Like you have to, right? Because, you know, we live in a world where everything is, you know, we got to buy stuff, right? But if you focus more on chasing, like Deion Sanders said, chasing the game, getting better at the game, getting better at all of those things, it'll
fall in line.
It's a byproduct of it. You know what I mean? And you can make as much money as you want to make, you know, like $30 cuts, $40 cuts, $50 cuts, $60 cuts, all the way up. You can get to, you know, 100K and up cutting hair. I would argue that's probably, for the most part, is like the peak from being behind the chair is around like 100K, maybe 150 tops. But then if you want to expand beyond that, that's when you got to open some shops. You got to start doing some other stuff. And that's what's going to take you up to them next brackets.
Hey, I want to shout out to my boy 360 Jeezy.
He missed it when you were showing him all the love. You might have to run it back 1 minute for him real quick. Yo, who were you learning how to cut from back in the day?
I want to say, man, like, he commented on one of my videos, bro. And I think it was based on the barber battle thing. Look, before I touch on that, shout out to you, brother. Like, my barber career started with one of your videos. So, you know, keep doing content, man. You're inspiring people more than you know. I'm pretty sure you already know that, but, you know, I'm a byproduct of that. I started my first haircut from watching one of your fade videos, the same video, for 2 weeks straight because I was so nervous to do it. So shout out to you, man. Like, keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, no, the way I feel about barber battles, and I think we had a mutual agreement to some extent, me and Marv, was they do good for someone's confidence, to showcase, you know, their work, to showcase their art. For me, it's about an art. It's an art, and I respect it as an art. You know, when I spoke on the barber battle thing, it was more so like, you're not going to get clients from there. For me, I don't see competitions doing any favors from you from like a business or financial standpoint. A lot of the times you're not really being compensated, and you're going against, when you go there, you learn that, you know, you're going against people that are way better than you. You know, like, you end up losing, like Marv said, he lost 2, you know, out of the 2 that he joined, and you're going against people that are doing faces like Rob the Original, stuff like that. You know, like, it's scary because you get in there, you keep losing, and it's like, yeah, maybe you get confident, you get comfortable, but when you realize, like, you got to ask yourself what your real goals are. I don't think there's true benefits to, like, getting clients. Like, we had someone comment that, yeah, I had trophies and they got me clients. People wanted to, like, get a haircut by me because of it. I don't think it carries the same value. I don't think it carries the same value it used to. Back in the day, you know, Jeezy, when you started cutting hair, when you know, Mar was joining competitions and all that, I think barber battles had a different feel to them. Social media wasn't a big thing. I feel like a lot of people did get contracts with a lot of these big, you know, name brands, these clipper companies, where I don't feel like it has the same taste to it now. You go to these places now, and it's just like an ego thing. People want to go dripped out. You know, they want to go and just show off to other men. You know, I said that as a joke, but realistically, you're trying to impress other people that aren't going to pay your bills. Like, for me, it was like, be intentional about what you want. If your goal is to be clapped for, like, I support that. Like, that's dope. But I think most people get into barbering to have the freedom, you know, of their time, to be able to make as much money as they want. And I don't think barber battles bring in as much value as it used to, outside of maybe helping your confidence, especially if you win. You know what I mean? So, like, at this point, I think it's just, they're redundant. I think they're a money grab. Someone mentioned, you know, it's a lot of politics. It's about who you know. I don't think they're as genuine as it used to be, and that really sucks. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the industry has kind of, like, fallen out of throwing a proper barber battle like it used to.
And
So
what
I
I
just
will
don't
say
think they're worth it
too
anymore.
about the barber battles is it's funny you just said money grab because that's what I was gonna say too. I'm like, it's a lot of it is just a money grab. You're charging people 125, 150 bucks to compete and stuff. It's it's helping fund the event, but a lot of it is money grab. But what I was also gonna say is there for some of the bigger ones, like we're talking CT, right? CT Barber Expo is like a whole different conversation, right? And some of these bigger ones, it's just like different. Like that's the Super Bowl, the Barber Expos. That's different than the local, Troy, New York barber battle, right? It's a whole different thing, right? But the other thing about the battles is, unfortunately, you have to, for the most part, cut a certain style of hair to even be in the running for potentially winning it, right? Like it almost, I forget, somebody said it was like racist at one point, like barber battles are racist. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then the way they broke it down, I'm like, well, I don't know if that's the way we describe it, but I get what you're saying. Like you almost have to have that certain type of hairstyle, that model that has that hair that really pops, because that's what's gonna stand out to the judges and lead to you potentially winning. Like even when I did the battle at the Universal, we randomly picked a model because we didn't prepare to like compete, and he didn't have the greatest looking hair, and it was like all gray and like,
you're not
what
gonna
I'm
win
saying?
that
Where
way.
you got the Spanish dude with the high contrast light head with the fade blends beautifully. It's like, you have to have a lot of these things in a line to even, win. So like there's that part of it too, where you can come with somebody that you could blaze up their haircut. It's a beautiful, perfect haircut, but because it's not the hair texture that pops the most on stage,
Density ain't there, to like make the design pop. Yeah,
you're gonna lose. So, we discuss a lot of it, the pros and cons of it. I guess it all depends on where you fall. The question I did want to ask you though, because another thing that's going to lead to you winning these barber battles, or losing them, is the use of enhancements, right? Like you're probably not going to win if everybody's using enhancements and you're not, right? Like you want to be the no enhancement person, right?
Man, this is gonna roll.
How do you feel about enhancements, bro? Hold on. You said, let me see what you said. You said you don't use enhancements. In your opinion, if you use enhancements, I don't think you're a good barber. A good barber, in my opinion, is an honest one. If a client wants enhancements and that's something you want to do, I respect that. But a good barber doesn't need enhancements. Remember that. Do better.
All right. So look, just to respond.
Barbers.
Hey, I'm gonna respond to my dude Jeezy. Look, that my delivery is shocking. That's something we talked about. I do it intentionally. Like, obviously, like even Marv mentioned it. If somebody said, "Oh yeah, like if you can't do a haircut in 30 minutes, you probably need to learn new techniques." It's not going to grab someone's attention. The goal is to grab their attention, get their emotions riled up and get them to comment. You know what I mean? Like the goal is to make the video blow up and start a conversation. Exactly what you said, So just know that who I am, obviously, is someone that likes to create conversations, and it is through a shocking delivery in the beginning or the introduction of the video, Look, now this is what I'm gonna get at, and I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but I'm an honest person, okay?
Speak your mind, bro.
I think enhancements. I think enhancements are for our brothers in the industry, bro. I think a lot of people kind of started stealing that, kind of like where people start doing dreads, or like it's like, bro, like that's a culture thing. You know what I mean? I think enhancements are dope for certain situations, maybe like a wedding, but I think you got it ingrained. You know what I mean? You get it ingrained in people that they need it. The good ones last a couple days, maybe at best, but then it's gone. And now the person's hairline shows. You know what I mean? So for me, I like to work from an angle of, accept your hair, accept your hairline. Once again, enhancements, bro, is a brother thing, bro. Like they always like them. My clients, my black clients are like, yeah, bro, use enhancement. I'm like, bro, like I'm down. Like if I had it, but I don't use it. So what I do, I take them to someone that wants it. Like for me, I'm gonna tell you off the rip, bro. Like I've never done it. I got a lot of black clients. They don't even ask me for it. They laugh at it. They're like, I'm good. But then there's people that really want it, and there's a barber for everybody. For me, I like to sell, like, we're in sales, guys. Remember this. We're in sales. You can sell a Lamborghini. You can sell a Toyota. You can get rich off doing both. Like, it doesn't matter what you sell, but you're in sales. I don't sell enhancements because I don't want to buy more product to spray on a lineup. I don't want to have to add that to my service. My services are basic, but they're done extremely well, right? I look at it like if you want to add that to your services and you can make more money for it and that makes you happy and you got clients that ask for it all the time because you built a clientele based on that, so be it. But my sales is acceptance. You want a good hairline, go to Turkey. You keep spraying that enhancement, before you know it, your hairline's all the way back here and you're like sitting there trying to spray 2 inches of paint on someone's forehead. Like, I think it's about being honest. I think enhancements are good, like I said, for a moment, for an event, to, because you're getting married, you want you to look your best on that day. But on a day-to-day, weekly, basis, I think you're selling a lie. That's how I feel about it. It's cover up. You know what I mean? Like, at what point as men did we start using makeup? You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's a black culture thing. I respect it. I think that's a thing that the brothers kept doing, bro. Like, all my clients, they do their thing, they get the lineup. I'm like, bro, that's dope. But it started with the lineup, and now it's being used on barber battles. Now it's being used on designs. Now people are changing up the culture. They're changing stuff up, and I'm like, I don't agree with it. I think as barbers, you have an opportunity to sell spray paint on someone's forehead and saying, see, I got your lineup right. Did you, or did you spray it right? Like, back then, bro, we were judged on how we were able to hit it with the trimmers and the straight razor to make something crispy. Now everybody want to spray paint everything, and you're covering up mistakes. I had a client come to me one time. They're like, yeah, they gave me enhancements without asking. He had a receding hairline. You could tell the receding hairline was painted. Like, it's just different. Like, I don't rock with it. I see its purpose, but I think it's a culture thing. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get the whitest dude or the white dudes come in and ask, you know what I mean, for a spray paint on their forehead. Like, you're not. You know what I'm saying? It's a culture thing. If your culture rocks with it and you got clients and, you're happy, I respect it. For me, though, I have my opinion, and it's straight up not covering mistakes,
Yeah,
Right.
I think the one thing with enhancements, I rarely use them too. I have, the guns, I have this stuff. So it's not like I'm just like, I won't do it at all. I have maybe one client currently that asked for them, right? I cut a lot of black people too, but I have one that like asked for it. Aside from that, nobody does. And I don't like offer or promote them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not like, so you should do this, because I personally don't care to do it. And, it's just, at the end of the day, I think my issue, if I had an issue with the whole idea of enhancements, is just the fact that so many up and coming and new barbers think that they need them in order to be successful, in order to charge higher price points. And they think they need to have that a part of their skill set, when it's like, bro, if you just go out in public, pretty much anywhere in the country or in the world, or you're watching TV and you're watching everybody on these, it's just like, it's not like you're going to see them predominantly. Like, you rarely see that. So thinking
really
they're thinking that you need to obsess over it and it needs to just be a part of, what you do. It absolutely does not. You don't have to do it.
Well, let me add to that. Just to add to your point, us as, me as a micro influencer compared to you, especially 360 Jeezy, right? Like, we have a responsibility to be honest with people. Enhancements are there to enhance a haircut, not fix, mistakes. And I think that sometimes we promote it so much that we forget our influence is pushing an idea or planting a seed. Like, man, that haircut looks hella crispy. But yeah, it's because you spray painted the lineup, right? Like, you got the enhancements on there. You made the lineup a little bit darker. You made it pop. And people think that's natural, or we're not pushing it, or we're not being like, honest about whether this was an enhanced haircut or not. So then it starts like planting the seed or the wrong idea, or maybe people that don't want to use enhancements, they're like, damn, I suck. Like, I can never get to 360 G's level. I can't get to Marvin Martin's level or Cabo Casanova's level of doing business or getting busy, because I'll never get to that kind of haircut. I suck. But it's like, no, let's be transparent. Like, if you're going to use enhancements, do that first. Like, teach people, talk about it more. If you're promoting enhancements all the time, I think it's important that you carry a balance of letting people know that as well. Like, hey, I'm going to be in a position where I'm going to continue to do this. Let me tell people, hey, guys, before you use enhancements, before you get comfortable in spray painting a lineup, learn how to do a good lineup on your own. Learn how to do a good taper before you try to darken spots that are missing some density. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And when I'm popping my talk too, I always been the barber that says, I love the fact that after you leave my chair and you go home and you take a shower, like, your haircut a lot of times looks even better. And then the next day it still looks good, and a lot of times looks even better, like the day after the cut. You know, I take pride in that. Whereas, you know, you might look at, like, say you did a cut and you used enhancements and I did a cut and I didn't, you know, on the surface from the picture or the video, it's like, yo, Cowboy Casanova is way nicer than Marv. Like, he's a beast. His cut's way nicer than Marv's. But then the next day after the shower, after sleeping on the pillow and it's smearing everywhere, now let's look at those same cuts. And it's like, wait a minute, Marv's cut is way better than Cowboy Casanova's, you know?
Man, you know what sucks though? And that's what I'm saying. Are you selling a lie to a client? I think it's good for events, but the moment you start telling your client, like, I'm gonna use this on you every time, you start telling like a client, like this is psychology, bro. Like, people look in the mirror every day. The image that they have of themselves is going to be a spray painted lineup, and they're going to be like, damn, that did make me look better. And then you keep selling it to them. You keep selling it to them, but you don't think, what is that doing to my client's psyche? Some people might think like, oh, like, I don't care. Like, they're asking me for it. I ain't tripping. And that's cool. But I think about a lot of things. I genuinely care about my clients. I do my best to like carry enough to be like, okay, if I continue to do this, and this is the real reason I never liked enhancement tries, like I stopped trying them or doing them, was because it started creating this like toxic like idea that you have to keep having it to look good. People were getting complimented like, wow, your lineup looks good. You're like, oh yeah, I'm selling confidence. No, you're selling a lie. At the end of the day, if you're doing enhancements on a client that comes every week, it's his choice and you're choosing to do it. But what happens when that client doesn't have the money to pay you for a cut and he's struggling for a week and he can't pay you and those enhancements ain't there? All of a sudden, my dude is not going to come out his house. Now he's extremely self-conscious because he doesn't have what made him more confident. And it's something that's temporary, not a permanent change. You know what I mean? Like when clients come in with the receding hairline, I tell them, go get a hair transplant. I'm as honest as hell. Like,
go to Turkey, bro.
Yeah, I push the issue. I don't care. I'm like, dude, I'm honest. Like, I care about you, and I'd rather be hated for who I am than be liked for who I'm not. Like, I'm gonna tell you the real truth. You want a better lineup? Go pay for it. Save up money, pay for that lineup, and come back and get your hair lined up like your actual hair, you know?
Well, then there's the other thing too, where it's like, how healthy is some of this stuff on skin? You know, like, is it even good to be on skin? Is it supposed to be on skin like that? Is it supposed to not be able to be?
Yeah,
you
like
know,
sticking on there, yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, man.
it's like at the end of the day, people are gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, you know, the old cliche, like, let people do whatever. But, you know, you just know you don't need to use enhancements. In fact, most people don't care about them, don't want them. Even like, there are people that have gotten them that are just like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Like, it's just not the need that you think it is. The problem is because you're scrolling on social media all day and seeing all of this enhanced stuff.
And you
like,
think it's real.
So yeah, you think it's real, and it's no, bro. It's just your algorithm. Like, put your phone down, leave it home, go on a walk, do a mall, do a Home Depot, go Walmart, go anywhere, bro, and you're gonna see like, wow, it really is just on my phone. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. And I agree with you, man. It's not the norm. Like, I think it's dope. If people ask for it, they want to pay for it. Like, to each their own. For me, I'll keep it simple. I stick to what the majority want, which is a great experience and a good haircut. Yeah. You know, they did a research, you know, statistically, Myron, they said, would you rather go to a restaurant that has amazing food, like top notch, Michelin star, right? Like, hot damn, this was the best thing I ever ate, but shitty customer service? Or go to a restaurant that has good food, maybe 7 out of 10, right? Chill, and amazing customer service. 90 to 80%, I believe, and I could be wrong on the number, but a higher percentage said they preferred good customer service over everything. Still edible food, but obviously, like, customer service is what mattered to people. And that's what kind of changed my perspective about the industry as well. Like, are you too focused on giving the perfect haircut, taking too long, spray painting lineups, doing all this, right, for something that's not going to that's going to wear out in 3 days? And are you like lacking good customer service skills? You know, that's why I was like, if you simplify things, like, I don't know if you never heard of In-N-Out, have you, Mark?
In-N-Out, the fast food?
Yeah. Have you heard of it?
They're not around here, but I've heard of them.
Yeah. Okay. So they're super big around here. And if you look at their menu, they have literally 3 items: a hamburger, a single cheeseburger, and a double cheeseburger. Okay. They have a secret menu. There's this whole like culture behind it. But here's the thing. They only got 3 things on their, they have their sides, fries, and, you know, whatever, but they only have 3 items. Like, that's it. You pick 1, 2, and 3. Can I get a number 1, number 2, and a number 3? And the reason that's important to me is because you walk in there, their customer service is impeccable. They're always busy. When you got a family of 5, they're all charging $10. They're under the market for what a meal is, like for the common fast food joint. They hacked it. They repeat your order. They ask you your name at the end of it. They make you feel welcomed, and they give you a quality burger for a good price. And what they excel at is good customer service. And to simplify their menu, they don't have 20 things on their menu. You go to a restaurant that has like 30 pages, you're gonna get decision fatigue by the time you're done looking at the last thing, right? You simplify your services, you do a great job, you're doing for a good price, you're always going to be busy, especially if you have great customer service.
The other thing I think that needs to be understood in our industry too is you don't have to use enhancements in order to get paid these higher prices. Because I think that's a tie that people make too, where it's like, if I'm ever going to get to, $40, $50, $60 and up for a haircut, I have to use enhancements. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't. Like,
and I know Jeezy talking about Jeezy we left enhancements into 2020.
Jeezy's bad funny. He put in he hit his caps lock button.
Yeah.
He said like this. Bang! Bang! Let me put it. He said, and I hear him yelling.
Oh my gosh. Hey, no, it's up. Like I learned how to use them. I just, like I said, for me behind the chair, I was like, I want to encourage people to not use them. So after they get good, like I have barbers in my shops that use them, and they like cap on me all the time. They're like, oh, I'm using enhancements. Watch out. And I'm like, man, shut up. Like, I really don't care. Like, I support that. Like, I've gone to the only barber battles I've gone to is to support my barbers. Like, that's the reason I went. That's the reason I felt like it was worth it. Like, I'm supporting the people that are representing my business. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not against it. I just think there's a time and place for it,
So my question to you is, number one, how much more time do you got?
Well, it depends how many questions you got for me.
That was my first question. Number two is, because Jeezy want to hop in. Do you want to talk to him for like 5 minutes?
Yeah, let's chime in, because I do got somewhere I got to be, but let's do it. Let's run it.
Yeah, Jeezy, DM me your email. I'll send you the invite right now.
Yeah, man. So that's it, man. Like I love the industry and where it's at. I think where it's lacking right now is a lot of these younger kids, sadly, were raised in a different generation where they're raised on social media. Yeah. So to them, like you have to have grace, right? Like you have to understand that a lot of these younger barbers, they're in a position where their social media is real to them.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like it really is. And I think that to me is like, it's a scary thing to accept, but it's a real thing to accept. You feel me? Yeah, like you get to a place where you're like, these guys grew up on social media. Social media is being real to them because it's been around the whole time they've been around. So whatever they see on social media feels more real to them than it does to us that are a little bit older. You know what I mean? So I guess that's kind of my game plan, man. I'm trying to encourage people to be a little more like authentic. You feel me?
Yeah,
be more real about that.
No, I love it. And I love the insight that you shared that like goes a little bit deeper, because that's not an area that most barbers ever explore. Like the whole idea of just that self-image, that insecurity, like that the psychology of it all. I think that was dope, because as many times as that I've had the enhancement conversations, it's, that's not the discussion a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So I really love that perspective. I think it's dope. And just, there's just things that we think are necessary aren't always necessary. And I get the enhancement stuff. I get it looks cool online. I get all of that. I get the art of it, and obviously it all depends where you're trying to take this thing and where you're trying to go. There's so many variables.
That's all it is.
Right. There's so many variables, but at the same time, my thing more than anything is I want you guys to just understand you don't need that. I can't tell you how many times I've been handed 100 and up for haircuts that I don't use enhancements on every single week, 60, 70, 80, $100.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where I'm at, bro. I get blessed at $100 at a time, simpler haircuts that don't need enhancements. Like we have the power to build our clientele how we want. And if I don't have to use enhancements, it shortens the time that I do the haircutting, and I'm still getting paid a very respectable number, So it's like, what do? Do you want to take a little more time to spray on these lineups and, bless people the way that you think should be blessed? Or do you dumb down the service and you just get more quality on what you provide and you get paid the same exact money anyway? So it's like, it just depends what people are choosing to do,
Got you. So let me ask real quick before I even do this. Do y'all want Jeezy to come in for a couple minutes? Do y'all want Jeezy to hop on for a couple minutes? Let us know in the chat. And Barbers, before we decide if we're bringing Jeezy on or not. I see him in the background right now. He warming up. I don't know if he getting ready to come on and drop his Jeeziness. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you follow Cowboy Casanova 93. Hit that like button. Feel free to ask questions. Just shout outs to Jeezy, man. Jeezy's been doing this for a minute now. Jeezy,
OG in the game.
Jeezy has birthed so many barbers, bro. Like he'll never realize the impact that he's made. He knows, but he doesn't know how many people like are even in this game because of him. Yep. You know, he's the man. I'll always show love to Jeezy. He'll always get flowers from me. There ain't nothing he could do that would ever make me throw shade at him. That's my dude. Even if he hated me for some reason, that'll always be my dude, regardless of how he felt. So I don't know, man. They saying let Jeezy in. They saying let's go. They saying let him in. And Savage said, nah, Jeezy sold out. Just kidding. Let him in, bro. So I guess we gotta let one of the Mount Rushmores of on the Mount Rushmore barbering up in here.
That, bro. Amen to that.
Jeezy, what up, dog?
What up, brother? What up?
Listen, Cowboy Casanova. Listen, I appreciate you. Marv.
What up, dog?
I see you. Listen. I was just jumping in on the enhancements conversation. I like what you said, Casanova, about it being a culture thing. Like, cause me, I love enhancements, and this is just for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I go to you, like let's say if I go to you and I book an appointment, if you ain't got enhancements, I'm not coming back.
Yeah. You lost.
Yeah, I'm not coming back. Like, oh nah, man.
Yeah.
And some people need it. Like, I don't need it, but
it'll lock you in as a client. Yeah.
Yeah, just the crispiness of it. I just like to feel extra fresh. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell me nothing. It doesn't matter if people be like, oh man, you got enhancements in. I don't give a doggone. I look good. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how I feel about myself. So when people say like, oh man, enhancements is this and enhancements is that, it's like, we do have to remember, of course, we train the clients. We did train the clients to get familiar with the enhancements, because without us doing it, you know what I'm saying, how would they know? So that's true. I get that point of view, but a lot of my clients ask for it. That's the reason why they come from me, because I show it. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you this though.
Oh,
I was going to say, well, your clients, they ask for it, but you also have a huge following. Like Marv said, I don't think you understand the impact you have. If you're promoting enhancements and haircuts that use them, and they obviously make them look better. What I'm speaking on is like, it won't last, right? It won't last the 2 weeks that people normally take to get a cut. What I'm getting at is you're promoting that. You're marketing yourself using enhancements. So yes, 100% people are going to come to you and ask for that. It's just organically happening through your content. So do you think that people are coming to you and then asking for that because that's what you promote naturally? You feel me? Right. Because I don't think that's the norm. Like people walk in and we hardly ever get that question, but I never promote that either.
Right. But what's your demographics as far as like your clientele base? Like, is it African American or is it like all straight hair?
So 95% African American.
Imagine
95.
I used to work.
That would be wild, though.
I know. I was about to say.
I used to work in Moreno Valley, and there's a heavy African American culture there. So we used to get a lot of clients like that. So I learned how to cut black hair. I can bless people like 100%. The thing is, I look white though, right? I'm Mexican. I look white, but I can cut black hair like crazy. Like I've never used enhancements. I've tried using them, and for me, like I said, it's more of like an ethical thing that I can't get behind. Like if you were asking me, Jeezy, like I've done it, and most people haven't asked me for them. Even when you're cutting someone that's African American, they're like, damn, you got me crispy without enhancements. It's more of a surprise to them because they were so used to people just immediately using it to either cover something up or make it look a lot cleaner. So for me, like I pride myself like in doing something that looks natural, that is natural. Like I said, I see the purpose on it, but once again, like I have clients that are black, right? They get great haircuts. The culture is there, right? But at the same time, I almost convinced them not to because they're like, yeah, I liked it that one time, but then like 3 days later, like it wasn't as crispy. So I'd rather like feel good about it immediately than have it wear out in 3 days and then be disappointed. You see what I'm getting at? Like it was more of a psychological thing.
Casanova, I'm gonna be real and transparent. I was with the whole no enhancement movement when I fresh out of barber school. I was with like, so if you go back like when I just got out of barber school, I wasn't really using enhancements.
Age, like Casanova did earlier for me. I'm about
Just keep scrolling.
Yeah, like if you keep scrolling down, you'll see like I wasn't really with the no enhancement. So as I grew and kept making videos and stuff like that, I seen Get Beam. I'm like, dang, people glazing. They saying his haircuts is fire. Dang. Everybody on Instagram, they post that enhancement cut. It's like, dang, okay, all right, everybody loving it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not about to get left behind and just not use enhancements and just be that old barber that's stuck in his ways and like, nah, man, I'm not using enhancements. I'm not using cordless clippers. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? It's people out there that it's the old school barber mentality.
Risk got the corded masters.
Right. He ain't going cordless at all.
No,
it's like, bro,
he ain't hearing
get with the times. So I'm a barber that like gets with the times. If somebody is doing it, not to say that anything and everything that I'm gonna jump on, but like I'm gonna stick with the wave. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get left behind and just being stuck in my ways. I'm gonna try it. If I like it, I'm gonna continue to do it just because it's elevating. It's elevating what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? As far 100%. As like YouTube promoting, you know, it's just.
Well, Jeezy, like that's it. You said it yourself, bro. You got to try it. Not everything you try is going to be for you. Someone might drive a Porsche and be like, man, that Porsche was fire. And they go buy it. Some people be like, nah, I'm going to stick to, my Mercedes. I like Mercedes better. Like the idea is that, there's different strokes for different folks, right? Like I think when you try it and if it's not your thing, and especially like wherever your business is, that matters too. Culture is a big thing. If I had clients walking in all the time, like, 8 out of 10 clients, like, do you guys do enhancements? Do you guys do enhancements? Like I would get with the times, but the reality is everywhere I've opened up, not 1, but 2, but 3 shops now, we hardly get asked that. Now there's people, like I said, there's barbers that do it in all my shops. There's people that do it. They got the air compressor. They're professionals at this point, right? and I respect it. I love it, bro, because I see them growing as their own brand inside my business, right? Like I'm like, yeah, they have the lineups, hella crispy. They're doing designs with enhancements, and I love that for them. For me, I just realized like, hey, now it's a beautiful thing because now people are like, yo, Luis, who does enhancements in your shop? Now I can redirect them to somebody inside my shop. Like I don't, but my guy here does. Now I'm not against it. My harsh delivery is always there to catch attention, right? Like it does. Like it caught yours, respectfully. Like I think
right.
What it is for me is encouraging people to get good at cutting hair before they start using enhancements. Get good at the skill and the craft, so then you can develop that as an asset, not as like part of the whole haircut. You know what I'm saying? Because then people lose sight on like being able to do a crispy lineup without the enhancements. I've seen people push back the vertical bars like right here, and then they try to like spray paint them back on. You see what I'm getting at? People using the cover of mistakes, and that's where it becomes a bad thing. You feel me?
So let me jump in real quick, right? Because speaking of getting good at haircuts, Luis said earlier that what makes him feel like he's the best at doing haircuts is using the Stylecraft instinct. So my question is like, we gotta get him one of these 360 Jeezy joints, bro. We gotta get one of them in his hand because I already know how that thing giving it up, bro. Can we talk a little bit about that? First off, congrats.
Do they got power? What's up? Talk to us about it.
Long
dope.
overdue.
It's dope. You gotta try it for yourself. You honestly gotta try it for yourself. It's like the instincts on steroids. Honestly, like that's when I tried it like a year ago. I couldn't put that clipper down. Like I was using the masters in my videos, really wanting to use that use the 360 X Stylecraft trimmer clipper. So man,
I will say, because I see somebody said they do get hella warm, guys. they're
So
powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like they're powerful. So once you get above a certain RPM, that's what's gonna happen, bro.
Creates
Like
friction within the metal or whatnot.
yeah,
but
I mean, the clippers are gonna get
if
warm.
they do get extra hot though, because I did get one that was extremely hot. You know what I'm saying? Just contact Stylecraft, and they'll switch out. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that like if it isn't working or anything, just contact Stylecraft. There's no need. Let me say this too. There is no need to sit here and post a video making it seem like every product is gonna be A1. I done got some Andis Masters that the black ones, you know what I'm saying? I done bought 2. One of them just wasn't working. I didn't post it online. I went straight to customer service and said, hey y'all, this one ain't turning on. They say it ain't charging, it's blinking. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, we live in the culture of it's like a sport to like bash, right? Like I was thinking, like the whole I think Kevin Durant said it on. He was tweeting when he was in one of his moods, and he's like, it's become just like a sport in itself to like bash the NBA, right? Like people don't even watch it, never played it, never cared about. They just love to bash it, right? So I think some of that is trickling over into our industry too. So the minute you run into something you don't like about something, it's like, all right, let's get on the bash it.
You want to hate on it, yeah.
Just like let's figure out how to get it fixed, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, somebody asked me something,
I don't
guys.
It's like,
guys, I gotta answer something. Somebody asked, "Do I have any brother barbers?" Look, guys, I look white. I'm Mexican. No, don't ask dumb questions. Come on, guys. I grew up around black folks. I got a cousin that's black. Like, bro, one of my managers is black. Like, leave that crap at home. We're here to talk about barbering.
He said Jeezy is black friend. Jeezy is black friend.
Yeah. He's my trophy black friend, bro. Like, leave that crap at home, bro.
Now, question for you, Jeezy, real quick, because I don't want to hold you up all night. Quick, the title of this, I mean, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but the title of this was Barbering is Booming. So why are so many barbers struggling? What would be your answer to that in a time where barbering is glowing up in a way I don't think it ever has? And we got so many opportunities. We can do so much cool stuff. We can build clientele so quick. We can do a lot of stuff that we never could do. You know, why do you feel so many barbers are struggling?
I just think it's laziness. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just laziness, pure, unadulterated laziness. People want it people want everything to be quick and easy, and it's not like that. Nothing is like that. You got to work super hard. People try to skip the steps. It ain't about skipping steps. It's about following the protocol. If like, I notice when I go to these barber schools, like, they don't commit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just commit, just do it and try it. And if you fail, all right, you know what you learn. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole process. People try to skip the process. People want the information quick. People want to get good quick. People want to be influencers quick. It's just everything. They're just trying to skip. That's what it is.
What's the process look like to you then?
I was going to ask, like, Mark,
like if somebody's coming out of school and they're hungry, they want to grow, and they're like, you know what, I'm coachable and I will follow the process. There's so many ways I can go. There's so much different advice. There's people telling me this, people telling me that. I'm a little confused. What would the process be from Jeezy?
Get you some business cards. Get you some business cards. Go out and put those business cards in a bunch of cars. You know what I'm saying? Go to your local businesses around the area. Start promoting yourself. Get yourself out there. Stop relying just on social media. Social media is not what did it for me in my city. They didn't know me at all in my city. You know what I'm saying? So we still had to go out there, put my flyers in the cars, go out there, talk to the Burger City place. You know what I'm saying? Like, ask, hey, can I put my cards here? Those things matter. You know what I mean? It's not about just relying on one certain platform like social media. That's not where it is, like, totally in the grand scheme of things. It's doing the footwork. It's being in the shop day in, day out. You slow, but you're not working on Sundays. You slow, but you want to take off Mondays. You slow, but you want to take a lunch. I want to take
they don't want to get burnt out though. That's what they say. They ain't trying to get burnt out though.
But how you burnt out is slow. You ain't got no clients for a whole hour. You've been sitting there. It ain't slow,
bro. Hey,
It
what happens when you run on a treadmill, right? The first time it's hard, and then you get used to it, and then it becomes
Yeah.
like an easy thing. It's the same way. I used to be like, man, I did 10 haircuts, I'm tired. Now I'm doing 20 haircuts on a Friday, every Friday. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm busting them out. People are happy. People are paying good money. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, like, you got to get your reps in. It's like Jeezy said, are you staying after hours? Someone comes in last minute. You're like, man, I only had 2 walk-ins. Did you take that client? That client's a potential returning client. And guess what? He's going to go tell a story, and he's going to say, yo, you know, Luis or Jeezy or Marv, you know, they squeezed me in last minute, bro. They're super dope. People go check them out. Word of mouth. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. So I got to double down on that.
Throw around that word burnout like it's just an overused word. It's like,
it's
bro,
an overused word.
You gotta stretch your comfort zone. Like, you gotta see what you're made of. Like, it's like, imagine if I'm trying to up my weight bench, and the minute like I can't do no more reps, I put it down and I'm like, yeah, I'm burnt out. It's like, no, like, you know, like, no, it's like rest a little bit and then get some more sets in, and then slowly like try to do a little more and more. It's like, it's okay to be tired. It's okay to be exhausted, right? It's okay to have your feet hurt a little bit, your back hurt a little bit.
Right, still showing up.
You got to get your reps in. You got to put your work in. You got to just, you know, test the limits and grow your comfort zone and do things that make you uncomfortable. The minute you feel uncomfortable, it does not mean you're burnt out. The minute you feel tired does not mean you're burnt out. You know what I'm saying?
Marv,
I think it's just an overused word.
To me, burnt out is being a booked barber.
Yeah.
If you ain't booked, ain't no need to talk about you burnt out.
How you burnt out, you ain't booked.
Yep.
Yeah, that's out. That's out.
But I appreciate you, Jeezy. Is there anything else you want to say before?
Oh, I do want to say, I do want to close.
What was you doing?
I do, huh?
What was you just doing before you tuned into this? You just chilling?
Nah, I was just eating my tacos. You know what I'm saying? I jumped on YouTube and I jumped on YouTube and I said, that's right. Because I had liked your post on Instagram that you were going live with Casanova. And I was like, yeah, I want to tune into that. So it slipped my mind. I jumped on YouTube and boom, you was live. And I was like, oh, yeah. But Casanova, I do want to say, I'm glad you did this. I'm glad you went live, because my perception on what you were through your videos is totally different than what I'm experiencing right now. You know what I'm saying? And right now I'm looking at you. I'm like, okay, a form of it is for like that wow factor. You know what I mean? But before that, I was thinking, this guy here, he's just
who the hell does he think he is?
Hey, well, Jeezy, hey, I hope you learn though, bro, because you should know better. You're an influencer too, brother. Like, whatever captures attention, whatever invokes emotion and gets people to comment, it blows up the algorithm. What's important to me is to start a conversation and get people thinking. I think too many people are scared of speaking their mind, and I wanted to change the narrative. I'm like, I'd rather be hated like for who I am, you know, than pretend to someone or to be liked for who I'm not. You know, like, this is who I am. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, bro, to be sitting next to you guys, like, I'm in the middle. Like, honestly, even this video looks crazy. Like, Mark, from a marketing perspective, from a marketing perspective, like, you had a big part to play in what I'm doing now. And from a haircutting perspective, you had a big part to what I'm doing now. And now I own 3 barbershops. Yes, bro. For you guys, just to give you guys a shout out, like, guys, I have 25 barbers working for my business. I got 3 locations. I got all of them. Shout out to my guys over here, you know. But like I want you guys to know this. I'm gonna eventually have 40 chairs filled up, and I mentor these guys. I mentor these young barbers, people that are coming up, and a lot of it is from stuff that I learned from you guys first, and now I'm learning on my own, and I'm teaching them. So just know, like, what you guys are doing in the industry, from being an influencer, from inspiring people, whether it's enhancements or not, you know, whether it's giving an opinion, you know, between Kendrick or Drake, right? Like, whatever it is that you guys are doing, you guys are inspiring the next generation of people that are going to teach other people and help other people leave behind the chair too. So keep doing what you guys are doing. You know, this is, you guys played a part in what I am today, you know, so thank you guys for that, for sure.
And we definitely appreciate you. I know, you know, I do. I know Jeezy does. We appreciate the hell out of you as well. One thing I did want to say real quick though, is like, when you said, you know, Jeezy, you should know better, you're an influencer, where it's a little bit different. I think with Jeezy is Jeezy built through long form content. Like,
YouTube,
Jeezy got the long form down that even like I haven't mastered, and I know you haven't probably even dove into long form. You're just doing.
I'm barely started. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So short form. So it's like it is like different worlds. It's like it almost gets thrown in the same box, but like
you need to catch attention in a small, like
in a small window where Jeezy, he can elaborate on a lot of different
quality
stuff
throughout
and everybody catches it. So that's where it's like Jeezy may be looking at it a little different, but now us doing this long form, he's like, all right,
I mean, we're all learning, and that's
I do get to see a different side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey, if you guys ain't growing, right? Like if we ain't growing, bro, you're getting left behind. That's what I tell people all the time. You know, shout out to the enhancement thing, right? Same thing. If you ain't growing, you're getting left behind in the industry. So I encourage everybody try to do your thing. Use enhancements, try different techniques, and if it ain't for you, there's another barber for that client. You know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to lose clients because you don't want to do a certain kind of haircut, guys. Let them find their barber, and you find your clients for sure.
Yes, sir. Jeezy, I appreciate you hopping on with us. If you down to do a part 2, we'll figure out a time to do it. What you looking at? Something good you want to share?
No. I was just hitting the follow button. That's all.
Yeah, let's we can discuss doing a part 2 or something. Bring you back on and let you go in and see where
after we get off of here, I'm gonna watch it back.
All right, cool. I appreciate you, dog. Everybody, if you don't already follow Jeezy, go follow Jeezy, and we'll tap in again, bro.
All right, Jeezy, thank you for joining, big dog.
All right,
Marv. Well, what's up? Is there anything else we're gonna talk about, or we're gonna wrap it up? What do we?
I mean, we're 240 in, so I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, solid.
But how cool is it though, right? Like when you think about when we first hopped on this and you're like, I got at least a good hour, and I'm like, hour. It flies, bro. Don't it?
I think like anything else, if you're going out with a shorty, bro, and you're like bored on the conversation, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
I think when you vibe with someone, bro, and things are going dope and conversation is cool. The chat guys, shout out to you guys for getting on the comments, or getting involved or fighting with one another. Yeah. Like it's dope, bro. Like I think that's what made it fun, man. Like really being able to do this. Like I said, for me, it's a full circle moment. Marv, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. I've been hustling for a bit now. So guys, if you guys are not joining Marvin Marv's Barber School, I learned a lot through his program. I highly recommend it. I heard a lot of good things about the 360 Jeezy. I did hear it gets a little bit warm, guys, but don't, like for me, I can do 10 haircuts in a day. One person might not be happy. It doesn't mean I'm a bad barber. Same thing goes for someone's products, guys. Check them out. Create your own opinion. You know what I mean? And guys, when you guys are struggling behind the chair, ask yourself first in the mirror. Always take accountability. Am I doing everything I'm supposed to? Am I marketing enough? Like Jeezy said, am I passing out cards? You know what I mean? Are you putting yourself out there, or are you sitting in the chair hoping someone comes in? Are you giving free haircuts? Someone asks, what should I do to get busy coming out of school? Give free haircuts. Practice your skill. Practice your craft. You give one free haircut, you might get a returning client. Be patient, guys. Jeezy said it best, man. Be patient. I tell people, if you're locked in and you're doing what you're supposed to, in 6 months to 1 year, barbering gives you the ability to change your life financially. That's if you're putting in the work. I ain't talking about half-ass days, not being there, not taking walk-ins late. Like, be there 6-7 days a week. Your first year, you got to do your spring year, guys. Lock the hell in. Obviously, follow me and Marvin Marv on social media. We're always dropping gems, guys. And I really appreciate you guys being here and tuning in for this long, for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I appreciate you, man, for taking 3 hours to kick it with me. I'm glad we finally got an opportunity to do this. You already know you're going to definitely have to run it back. So, we'll figure that out at some point. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love what you're bringing to the industry. And just know I'm somebody that has been going through this for a little bit. So if you ever feel like there's a time where you just need to vent, or just like you were doing earlier, like, let me ask you, and you got a question or something, just shoot it my way, bro. And, I do my best to share insight based on the things that I know that I feel like could help you, because again, I've navigated a lot of this. So 100%. If you're interested in certain things, I could say I could give you the real game, the truth of it. Yeah. But again, keep doing what you're doing. We're rocking with you, bro. And I think it's cool that a lot of people are going to get to see, like Jeezy just did, a side of you that expands beyond the short form content. And they'll see that there's a lot more to you than just the shock value stuff that you do. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it, bro.
Any last words you want to leave the people with?
That's it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. It means the world to be able to entertain people online. I hope to inspire people through my advice. I'm not always going to be right, or we're never going to, be in a position where we're going to agree on everything. But that's how we expand, guys, by having good conversations. That's how we grow. I think as a country, as an industry, we haven't had these hard conversations. We're able to talk about things and be real. So, shout out to Marv. You're opening, the floodgates for us to be able to do this. You're hosting good, a good interview. This is what this really was, right? And a good conversation between a lot of people that get to see a different side to both of us, brother. So, guys, keep following us. Stay tuned in. Keep jamming up these jam talks, and I'll see you guys online.
For sure. And lastly, before I let you go, Barbers, make sure you take a look at the Barber School. My last plug of the night. All right, this is just a brief, just to show you real quick of what the inside looks like, just real quick. Again, more info is on that link that's on the screen, or you just click the description. But it's a whole community tab. This is where all the barbers can connect. You can ask questions, network, all of that fun stuff. Got a classroom with a whole bunch of stuff in here, and I'm constantly adding to it. It's gamified as well. So the more you engage, the more you interact, the more you move up the leaderboard. It's a really dope community. It's a monthly subscription that you can cancel anytime. You can do the yearly if you want to as well. And you get to just work more directly with me and closer with some people who are also hungry to grow just like you. You can DM me in there whenever you got questions and stuff. It works similar to like a social media. So again, if you want more info, all you got to do is just, go to itsmarimarv.com or just click the link in the description. So, Luis, I'll tap in with you soon.
Yes, sir.
Barbers, thank you for kicking it with us for almost 3 hours.
You better, y'all.
End this, bro. You stick around for like 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna end the stream. So, Barbers, until next Gem Talk, keep chasing greatness. We'll tap in.